Why, hello. Hi. And welcome to session 1 of The Glittering Night in Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. I am your storyteller, Stu. And to my left
is Jim. And I will be playing Felix St. John, your friendly neighborhood Hollywood Nosferatu.
Hi, I am Pooja, and I will be playing Lakshmi Shah, your very angry Tremere.
All Tremere have license to be very angry.
So angry.
This is really just therapy for you, isn't it? You just made yourself this so that way you can come here and express it on the weekends and be happy all the week. I guess, yeah, it's really smart.
It's one of the beauties of role-playing, man. I do that all the time.
I think it's going to be so good.
I'm Stork. I'm playing Floyd Gilmore, a homeless brewhop.
And I'm Sam. I play Anna Sophia Bianchi, who is our Malkavian satanic nun.
Yay! Well, every party needs one, I mean, really. Yes. No way to be able to clear any dungeons without a satanic nun, that's for sure.
All right. Now, but the one thing that we forgot to do, I'm hearing distortion for some reason, and I don't understand why. This is irritating me. Hello, check 1, 2. Huh. What's the headphones? All right. The thing we forgot to do last time was to make connections between everyone. Now, we're missing Joey and his Toreador for this session, and I think you had already kind of come up with a connection with him.
Yes.
I mean, we can wait on those for next week since he's not here. It's not super relevant, but go ahead and figure out what connections you want with each other. We can spend like maybe the next 15 or 20 minutes figuring that out real quick.
Sounds good. Can we just go through
who we are?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
It's been a month.
You know, and to be fair, I didn't even remember you were Nosferatu. We were talking about it, and we were like, because I was so consumed with trying to make my character and just juggling all that I really didn't pay any attention to anybody else's characters.
I had to go back and watch the character creation.
I had an idea of clans, and that was it. Yeah. Everything else was sort of like...
Yeah.
And also, I know mine changed a little bit, not a ton, but I know that it's possible that when we were fleshing things out, stuff changed a little.
Tap your mic for me. Okay, it's working. I don't want it so quiet.
I can put it higher.
No, go ahead. No, it will be fine. Yeah, maybe a little.
How about that? How about that?
It's still about the same. I have to replace my board. All right.
Oh, no. Here. There we go. It's a thing now. I sound louder to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. A little. Okay, go ahead.
So should we do a little bit more in-depth backstory / intro for our characters?
Yeah, I think we just go into a little detail on everybody. Yeah. I can start off. It's not a problem. So, Felix was basically a sort of like a 49er type of guy. He went to California to try to get rich. Got into a pretty bad accident while doing that removed his nose entirely. And he became homeless and a vagrant at that point, where he got picked up by a group of carnies, basically a circus that had a freak show, and the freak show sort of picked him up, and he just started doing odd jobs for them and then started doing other things. His sire ended up being the leader of that group, and he was embraced, and then sort of went on doing his own thing, and then stumbled onto Hollywood in California and stumbled onto moving pictures, and he became instantly fascinated, and worked out a way for him to work in pictures by being a film editor. And he's done that for quite some time, and the way that he does it is usually he ghouls somebody to be the face person that interacts with everyone. He does the work in secret and then turns in the work. And he's been doing that for quite some time. That's made him very wealthy and quite influential in Hollywood circles. He is a big proponent of rescuing, helping, or aiding people that live in the margins of society or in the periphery. And he's been known for bringing talented people out of obscurity that deserved it, that didn't have it for some reason. They were marginalized, either because of their looks, their race, their gender, so on and so forth. But he is quite active within that scene, and he tends to feed primarily off people that take advantage of other people. So he likes people like pimps, people like he had a real good time when all of those home loans went upside down, and but yeah, so that's sort of sort of the thing that he does. But he lives in a like 40s 50s bomb shelter that was built by somebody who has a house in the Los Feliz sort of like area over there. And the house is basically where his ghoul lives, and that's his address, but he lives in sort of like the bomb shelter that was made underneath, which is very Spartan, just basically has the place where he sleeps, and then a whole bunch of editing equipment and all of those basics. So.
One of the Boggarts rented a house in La Cañada, and it was a really nice home with a big garden. It overlooked the arroyo, and also had a bomb shelter in there. It was about the size of this room, and it was the same sort of thing. It's like, what's
exactly
that? Go in there, and and it's just concrete and cold.
And there was one more thing I wanted to say, but that's right. That's basically him. That's what he's about.
Awesome.
Cool.
So Lakshmi was she was kind of a magical, not priestess, but she had magical powers in the very late 1800s in India, and her family sold her to a British kind of second son in a marriage contract, heavy quotes there, and he took her back to England and used her powers to try to like gain influence and other kind of stuff, and like by capitalizing on the start of the occult.
Yeah.
How long ago was this? 1800s?
So this was when she was sold and when she was brought over to England was like the early 1900s, so like 1908, 1909. And so she was basically a slave for 3 years, and then until her sire entered the picture and noticed her and killed this guy and his entire household and turned her. Gotcha. So George Mock wanted to use her powers. He thought it's possible that by siring her that he would gain a measure of her power, like her human power.
Okay.
Which turned out not to be the case. But it did drain all of her human power. So she was no longer technically a slave, but she was in service to her sire. And he taught her blood sorcery, but she never forgave him for taking away her true power that she was born with. So after the fall of the pyramid in 2008, she immigrated to the United States and got in touch with descendants from her original village.
Oh, cool.
And she, as a scene queen, feeds on yoga instructors / those health social media influencers, the people who are always trying to peddle you a different aromatherapy oil or crystal or something like that, instead of going
back
to
in
see
my
a
day we
doctor.
called those guys snake oil salesmen.
Yeah, and it's basically modern day snake oil salesmen.
Yeah.
In the backstory I wrote Stu, it's Los Angeles was a great place to find these people. You know, the ones with Namaste printed on the ass of their $250 yoga pants. Which pretty much 100% sums it up.
Yep.
But she lives in a really run down, kind of on the verge of being condemned studio building in Atwater Village.
Okay.
The inside is set up kind of like a yoga studio. It's got, instead of real furniture, it has cushions and throws, and it's that throwback Eastern mysticism look. Mm-hmm. But that is to keep up appearances with her herd.
Okay, that makes sense.
So she has, a few people who come in for private classes with a renowned yoga instructor, Lakshmi Shah.
That's awesome.
Who will definitely add authenticity to your brand.
Amazing.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Dr. Floyd Gilmore. So I'm the newest one because I think I got embraced in the 80s. He was dying of cancer. And in a desperate search for a cure, he stumbled upon the fact that there might be these things called vampires. So he used his considerable wealth and influence to track one down. The only one he was able to find was a Swedish ex-prostitute human trafficker who runs this brothels in London and Stockholm. And anyway, she was fairly easy to find. So in exchange for everything he owned, she embraced him, and she thinks it's the greatest of jokes in typical Bruja fashion, sowing chaos by taking a influential, good-looking guy and completely ruining him, and taking all of his stuff and leaving. Ha ha. So now he's homeless and has been living in the LA area. And in the evenings, he goes out and tries to help out the homeless people, sort of, doctoring and.
I already see you and me being very.
Yeah, going through and bandaging and that's how he maintains his herd as well. So he goes to them and he administers some medical stuff to help them out, and in exchange he gets to feed off a couple of them now and again. And he's been desperately trying to get his life back together. He was a prick when he was alive, and now he's had died to realize that makes him a much better human as a vampire than he ever was as a human. He's not doing things for money and ego anymore. He's doing things out of altruism, because he realizes now that being human was a lot better than the alternative. So he is. He's kind of a wreck of a human. And he's still kind of young, so he's still trying to figure it out. You guys have had, 150, 200 years of laying the groundwork?
108. Add years to me, please.
In our state, why does it matter?
My sire might be fairly notorious. Her name was Bodil Jeppesen, and she's a Swedish 20-year-old ex-prostitute, runs a human trafficking business, supply her brothels Paris, London, and Sweden, and she uses a shipping business she took from her sire, that she blackmailed to vanish.
Nice. And my lovely Malkavian lady, Anna Sophia, she started out life as a young Catholic visionary. She had, Joan of Arc style religious visions, much to the scandal of her family, who were related to a prominent Catholic bishop. So after a couple failed exorcisms, she was relegated to the sanatorium, as one would do in the Victorian era. But her sire, who was posing as a nurse there, kind of saw her sort of visionary potential and decided to embrace her as a Malkavian. So she, because of her background, had a really hard time with the transition and accepting the monster she had become, and it took her a long time to kind of come to terms with that. And then in the early 20th century, when occult stuff was becoming more popular, she encountered some of Aleister Crowley's works and sort of had a vision of Saint Dymphna, the patron saint of the insane, who visited her and basically told her that this was part of God's plan for her, and that she had to help bring about Judgment Day by tempting humans to sin. So she became a Satanist. And now she...
Because God told her to.
Because God told her to. Helping.
Hey, you need people on both teams to play.
Listen, it's part of the grand ineffable plan, according to Saint Dymphna. So she feeds amongst the metal community. She was in...
I could totally see how you two could interact there, right?
Yep.
I could see how some of her clients are...
It was all matching bookends at this point, right?
They never notice that she doesn't age because she just wears corpse paint. So she can hide her identity, and she lives in an abandoned cathedral. That's her haven. Occasionally hosts some black masses there for her herd and whatnot. But she is sort of still conflicted about her quote-unquote mission, and uses what little resources she has to kind of help the downtrodden in the community on the sly to try and balance it out. It's believing you might have to do terrible things because that's your calling, but also not wanting to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, I should probably add, and it's something I guess all of us kind of have in common. One of my touchstones is the guy who runs the LA base of a not-profit organization.
Oh, nice.
Working against human trafficking. None of those words came out quite
all
the way I
right.
wanted
So
them
all
to.
of those are two connections right there. Right? I can totally get you guys.
Definitely.
Definitely. And he also is very involved in philanthropic work with the homeless. And as a major thing, he actually has a foundation that that provides housing and convalescent homes for former members of freak shows and those type of things that basically usually they die penniless, but he has basically a home that he provides for them that they're taken care of and stuff like that.
Did you know that in the freak show that I set up, that Savage Worlds Gaming, I've set up that the ringleader of the freak show circus is an actual emotional vampire?
Oh my
That's
god.
his whole idea was like, he throws on these things and then he feeds off the audience.
Right.
It's funny that you made
That's me.
Something similar, yeah. Oh, and he's an avid collector of film costume. So you'll find that the house that he has upstairs has basically just, and he a lot of times just kind of to amuse himself, he actually brings out some of those costumes to actually go out in. He has the original Clytus outfit from Flash Gordon with the gold mask and the black robes. He has a couple of the black hole costumes with people with the silver masks, and so he collects a lot of those things that sort of obscure his
such
looks.
a bad movie.
It's a horribly bad movie.
It doesn't matter.
One of those Star Wars knee jerks that everyone had, but there are some points in it. Vincent was great because it was voiced by, gosh, now I can't remember his name. He also was in Planet of the Apes. But anyways, there were elements of it that were cool. Design elements were great.
The ship was cool.
The ship was cool. The bad guy robot was super cool looking. Maximum Michelle, come on, it's Maximum Michelle. But
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, he does that too.
So connections.
Yes. So we need one positive and one negative.
For,
And you have
for
your
each person.
negative.
I have negative with Joey.
Right.
Let me read what Joey said. He won't mind this because especially what we're doing. Okay, so I think I have an idea for a negative connection to Stork's character, since I am all about not using the embrace to prolong the life of the terminally ill, and that's exactly what he did for himself willingly. I think I regard your character as foolish or cowardly. So I said, yes, let's run with that. So
So he
connection.
has a negative connection for you.
Yeah. Okay, so I've added that to our relationship map. Cool. Okay. Does anybody have a positive or negative they want to start with?
I want to say that as a positive connection, Stork, that I feed you some cash for medical supplies for what you do,
Okay.
sort of on the sly, and
At some point I want to set up a clinic, but that's...
yeah. I mean, I think that's something I think we should work for, because I was thinking about that too. But more than anything, what I think what it is that I give you antibiotics and some basic sort of things that you need for triage, and I make sure that's sort of supplied.
That makes sense in a way because I would still be recently on your radar because it's only been 30 years since I've been.
I may not even know that it's you that's receiving those.
Right.
And I'm totally cool with that. Actually.
Well, except we're all in.
We're all in the
Yeah.
quarry, but but let's just say that I'm doing that sort of like very surreptitiously because I don't know whether I can trust you or not yet.
That makes sense. I like that.
And my aid is somewhat limited to the very basics until we build up a little bit more of a rapport, and then maybe we can build up to that clinic sort of situation.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, then that's going to be reciprocated, so I can have a good connection with you. I don't know. Can we have the back and forth with that? Or does it have to be a separate good connection?
I don't see why it has to be.
Okay, so you want your connection to be the what specifically? That you appreciate his support?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
So I still need a negative one, though, right?
Yeah.
And I think that I would probably have a problem with you feeding off the mentally ill, because I would consider that a marginalized group as well.
They're not mentally ill. They just love metal.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say, I take offense to that.
I mean, unless you mean in the way that
I
like
misheard when you said I didn't hear metal. I heard mentally ill. is
Oh,
what I
no,
heard.
no.
So that's a misinterpretation. I take that back.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
You know what? That's the name of an album. Is Mentally Ill.
Mentally ill. Yeah.
You're not wrong.
As a lifelong Slayer fan, I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's okay.
Mentally Ill has got to be my next. That's my heavy metal album.
There you go.
You say mentally ill?
Mentally ill. Yeah.
Yes.
Boggart should put
That's
out a
pretty
metal
great,
album.
actually.
That would be amazing. The Boggart's metal album. I would buy that.
You do the metal.
Well, you still
Take a bunch of folk songs and do them.
you still have the Viking thing that in your back pocket.
No, that's never coming back. It was a terrible idea.
Terrible. Look, Guar was a terrible idea on paper too, and they're still around. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, but they shouldn't be.
except for all the money.
They're fun though. Okay.
All right, so I got to come up with a negative connection.
So we all need one positive and one negative connection.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Well, positive-wise, I guess, like, my prey exclusion is I do not feed on first-generation immigrants. Like, people who have come to this country, seeking, an escape from their previous life.
Right.
So, maybe, like, that could tie in some way with your, like, lifting up the marginalized, or, like, how you were saying you're kind of like you're using your powers as in Hollywood as like a star maker.
Mm-hmm. But also,
I appreciate that work that you do.
But also, he's also an appreciator of foreign film, so it could be somebody that that sponsors visas for filmmakers from other countries to come to this country and work, or generally artists in the film industry, because there's a lot of things that go around that. So that could definitely be a connection between you and me, if you want it to be. The thing about this guy is that he has resources 5. He's like filthy stinking rich. He's been hoarding money and not spending it forever. So he has a lot of resources to throw around when it comes to that.
That's as high as it gets, right?
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a billionaire.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, he lives in a basement and he doesn't care for much of anything else. He doesn't buy
What do
expensive
vampires
things.
need money for? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He just
All these costumes.
for all these costumes, but he really doesn't have a lot to spend the money on. But he's been working in a fairly lucrative industry for quite some time, so I figured he'd be relatively wealthy. And especially, I took a few points in finance, so he has a couple of good
You have some good investments. I like it.
You got lucky on some good investments. Who knew Bluetooth was going to blow up?
It's just an offshoot of Nosferatu, right? The Nosferatu.
The thing is, we're all sort of jiving so well.
I know.
It's more difficult to come up with negative connections than it is
yeah.
for positive ones.
So yours is an ex-Catholic Alcavian.
We're
She's-
currently Catholic.
She's still Catholic.
And I'm going to glom onto that to say our negative connection is that I find your reliance on Catholicism, I think it's a crutch.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So I'm going to glom onto yours, but the human trafficking, although I have no love for my sire, I am very concerned that your poking around in human trafficking is going to draw her attention and ire. And I really don't want her coming back into town, and because she's very powerful. Because I'm on par with you guys, and I'm only 30 years old.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So,
No, we're all fairly high generation for Ancillae, so our sires would be fairly. I mean, even if they're just 9th generation, it still is.
Yeah, but you guys have been around for 200 years, embracing and doing things.
Yeah.
100 and some. Most
Yeah,
of
100
them,
and some, about 100 years.
So,
I think,
so my negative connection is I live in fear of you drawing my sire's attention
okay.
on us.
That's a good one.
yeah, I like it. There's one, and are we going to hold off writing it in, or, like, obviously we're writing it in pencil at the moment, but Joey and I had talked offline about that we're both in agreement that his sire needs to die.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Now, is his sire local? Is anyone's sire local?
I forget.
Mine travels.
Right.
Mine could be.
Okay.
At
And
any
I mean,
moment.
George knows
Yeah.
where he wants.
Yeah.
We did not come here together, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't bounce around.
Okay.
And one of my perks is that I'm a member of Asylum, and that's from stuff we did together.
Got it.
So, like, he could at any time drop in, and it wouldn't be unheard of. He's
Okay.
not like,
Yeah, I'm going to say that I haven't heard from my sire in quite some time. Not really sure where he's at, what he's about. and sort of like hoping that someday he'll come back and reach out to me, but he's unsure
But
about.
probably decades.
Yeah,
Okay.
decades.
Yeah, I think Anna Sophia doesn't really. She kind of moved away from her sire in like the 30s, and probably doesn't speak to her that often since she's like found her new purpose, and her sire probably thinks that's kind of weird.
It's like, even for us, this is strange.
Yeah.
For Malkavian, you're a loon.
Yeah. Yep.
I like that.
Okay.
Okay, so you think that that Colin's sire needs to die? Okay. I was gonna say for Felix that Anna Sophia probably, since you have so much money and you really live kind of an ascetic lifestyle and only use it to like help people, that she probably like thinks of you as like a really good person for a vampire. So I think she probably admires that about you.
Okay, that's a positive connection. I think that Felix appreciates who you are and what you do, but he has a problem with religion in general, and the whole bearded guy in the sky thing sort of thinks it's silly. I'm going to say that he is always trying hard to not to ridicule you about it. But he has to basically hold his tongue about it, but it's obvious to you that he has an issue with it, and it causes some tension between us.
Okay.
Just because,
I like that.
he has a big thing about lies, and he thinks religion is a lie, straight up. So he would have a problem with that with you.
Yeah. And she's like, I've seen saints have appeared to me. They're dead. It's true. She's 100% convinced.
I am very sorry if I don't take a Malkavian's word for that.
Which I guess is the other thing. Are we, like, so we're a coterie, we're open with each other about what our clans are.
Yeah. Well, there's not much that I could do to hide what clan I'm from, so...
Same.
I mean, once the rituals come out, I don't think there's a lot to
You start doing some blood sorcery, we're like, Jacques, Tremere.
Yeah, in many ways, mechanically speaking, this gets rid of the whole you'll meet in an inn kind of moment where we spend 6 or 7 games just trying to get to know each other.
Right.
Right now, we hit the ground already a group, which streamlines the game, I think.
Well, I like it so much better that way. Like, honestly, games where we have to like,
Play your cards close to the
no,
vest.
you don't trust her yet.
Yeah.
I think for Floyd, Anna Sophia, I think distrusts you because you chose to become a monster.
Very, very fine, yes.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
He didn't actually know he was going to be a monster. He just knew he was dying of cancer, but
Yeah.
he regrets it too, so he'll take that.
I'm trying to think. What would be a bad thing between Floyd and me?
But you don't need a bad one for everybody, right? You just need
No, it's
one.
not-
just
and
one.
one.
You want
Yeah.
one? Okay.
So if you have a good and a bad, then you're
Yeah, you have two.
Copacetic.
You
Yeah,
have a
two.
bad one for me and a good one for him.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
Cool.
think we're good except for
Joey still
Joey.
needs-
Yeah.
Joey's good.
Joey needs to come up with a good,
Yeah.
Okay.
which he can do.
He has
Yeah,
to
we'll
like at
do
least
that.
one of us.
Right.
And if I love how like somehow I ended up being like, it's like there are no good connections here. It's okay with that. But
I mean, if he agrees that his sire needs to die, that could be a good connection.
He might also, being a Toreador, dig what you do for a living. It's
Yeah.
hard to say. I don't know what he's...
Actually, I think that that I particularly like Lakshmi just because in Vampire Society, you're an outcast.
depends on your definition of outcast.
Well, the thing is, it's his interpretation of it that matters. For that. It may not be like an open thing that I discuss with you a lot, but it could be an opinion that I hold of you to myself.
Okay.
Great.
Are we got our own connections?
I think
I
so.
think we
I think we're okay.
And we can start. Where's my clapboard? Okay.
I don't go back to work till tomorrow.
I'm going to say 5:30.
You're triggering somebody, man.
I actually have a clapboard in there.
Please don't.
5:30 p.m. Sunday, January 5th, 2020.
Do we need the blood pool?
Nope.
Nope.
No, I used blood
What a
dice.
shame.
You have blood dice now.
Yeah.
I know. I was a little bummed. I don't get to bring my skull glass down with all the little glass beads.
I mean, you could.
I couldn't. It could, but it won't get used. But I like the physicality of dropping the blood in the.
I just love the fact that I found a skull goblin.
No.
It's so awesome.
Makes a good noise.
Anyway.
So now, most of you have your own.
Haven?
Not. Huh?
Haven?
Haven. That's the word I'm thinking of. Within the Atwater Village, greater Atwater Village area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is yours in Atwater or Glendale or where?
Well, probably in Glendale, because that's where the bigger, like, churchy things are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's close. It's in our domain.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I actually have the flaw. Don't I have a flaw? No, Haven. So I have to drift around
Okay.
from evening to evening. Finding
So
a
you
good
couch
place.
surf, basically.
Yeah.
Or-
You know, there's some places, various places I go, but one of those are like, some of those overpasses have like little metal doors in them. Mm-hmm. You can break those open and they're just dark in there.
Right.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were going to camp out in the bat cave. Part of our domain is Griffith
It
Park.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
And the bat cave is up there.
But it's not very
that's true.
deep. It's like maybe the size of this, and it's too many
It's
tourists
deeper
during the
than
day.
you think.
Is it?
I've shot in there a bunch.
Nice.
So you're in a overpass somewhere.
Yeah.
In the little
Yeah.
maintenance
Yeah.
thing. Okay. And where's your?
Mine, I think it's probably in sort of like the Los Feliz sort of area, up in the hills by where the Greek is.
Okay.
I'm in Atwater.
Okay.
Like, there's that.
Oh, you have your studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Another
kinda
good place
close.
is the subway, dude.
What?
Another good place is to just crash out on the subway.
There's the subway.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Now,
also
there's also the ancient subway.
I was going to say that
Yeah.
abandoned subway. They shoot there all the time too.
There's
The problem is, it's the subway during the day, so you get rousted. Because you
So,
always think,
like,
"Oh yeah, I'll just
really
spend the
the-
night." Oh no, it's not.
Well-
I'm spending the day.
the abandoned part of the subway.
Yeah.
Yes.
You might have some people poking around, but it's also kind of scary down there.
It's also really dark, and
And,
there'd just be a shape in the corner next
It's
to
probably
it.
kind of like a Nosferatu
Yeah.
kind of place.
Pretty much.
Well, like I said, I move around.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5:30-ish, you would all awaken. Now you all start with, if I recall, I found the rule and then I can't find it again, which is what happens every time I read a vampire book.
Yep.
It said somewhere that you can't have lower than one hunger
Yeah.
unless
Oh,
you
yeah.
kill someone.
It's like right at the beginning where it starts talking
Right.
You
about
cannot
hunger.
potentially make a rouse check when at hunger 5. No. Unless you kill someone, hunger
You
can
can
never
be
fall below
compelled.
1.
Right. So everyone starts with one hunger, and then you will all make a rouse check. If you succeed on a success is 6 or higher, and you roll just one die.
One die? Okay.
And if you get a 6 or higher, you wake up with no problem. If it's 5 or less, you now have 2 hunger.
8.
Excellent.
I got a 10.
9.
I got a success.
Everyone made it. Look at that.
Yay.
It's an auspicious beginning.
So you're all at hunger 1. So just remember, all of your rolls replace a hunger die with whatever the pool is. Okay. So you sort of start getting up and kind of looking around, and the first thing that you notice is that you can hear fire engines in the distance, not like nearby, but like way out in the distance. And you hear dogs howling and stuff along with them. And if any of you get out of your lairs and go outside, that you will notice that like sort of beyond Griffith Park, you can see like this orange haze in the sky. Not sunset, but like a distant fire and smoke. Also walking around on the street, there are not very many people walking around enjoying the early evening hours. You see a few. There's some people on their cell phones. Obviously, everyone's on their cell phones. But they're not looking at them like they're bored. They're like almost like they're reading something or studying something or looking for something. And yeah, So, and you can also see to the east, sort of the northeast, you can see the same sort of hazy sort of orange glow, and you can also see it kind of a little bit to the northwest.
Well, I'm going to dust myself off and head towards Atwater, where our coterie is. And when I pass by one of those, ubiquitous bars that seem to be every couple of blocks, I'll duck in and watch the television and see what's up.
Okay, all right. What's everyone else? I mean, clearly there's fires going on, and you can hear the fire engines and you can see the flames. No, you can't see the flames, but you can see the telltale signs of distant
The
fires.
haze.
Yes.
And so it's to the east, the northwest, and
The south.
Northwest, the east, and what would that be? Sort of the southwest,
okay.
where over on the other side of Griffith Park somewhere.
I'm going to go upstairs and speak to my ghoul to assess what the situation is.
And he says, "Oh, I got you
Newspaper. Stu loves making newspapers.
Yes.
I love Stu's newspapers.
Firestorm Southland.
The Stu's papers.
Let me just...
West Hollywood, Universal City Walk, Pasadena, and USC flames. Witnesses explosions.
I'm going to put a link in the chat room right now. If anyone listening to this would like to read the articles, you may do so at LosAngelesIntelligencer.com.
Oh my
Jesus Christ.
I went a little, yeah.
Is there a newspaper in this, like one of those racks in the bar when I walk by? Yeah, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna look and see if on the street there's any of the standing newspaper stands.
Of course.
Or,
and Los Angeles Intelligencer is free.
Of course
It's like LA Weekly except smaller.
Excellent.
There you all have your copies.
No newsprint this time?
And I didn't use newsprint this time. It's hard to cut. It's hard to cut out newsprint because my paper cutter is only for like 11-inch.
Do you have one of the rolly types or one of the choppy types? No, look at Abigail
gonna marry that
Athenbright of
Duchess.
El Molino in Pasadena.
I put an Abigail in since.
Not just an Abigail.
Yeah,
an Abigail Athenbright.
Emergency classified.
So like on the in the bar you're at, the television isn't on sports. It's on news. And there's press conference with Los Angeles Mayor Eric Tarcetti.
With a T.
With a T, yeah. And all characters are fictitious and do not resemble in any way people living
Perfect.
or dead. And there's a fire chief standing next to him, and he says, "I'd like to read a prepared statement, and then the chief and I will take questions." At approximately 5 a.m. this morning, several explosions were heard in USC, West Hollywood, Universal City, and similar explosions were reported in Pasadena. These explosions resulted in structure fires that quickly spread to surrounding structures. At this time, we do not know who is responsible or if these are attacks and they are coordinated. I've been in contact with Home Security Secretary, and he said there were no imminent threats of terror attacks, either foreign or domestic. We're currently estimating 35 structures have been destroyed. There are 12 confirmed deaths, but we expect this number to rise demonstrably. An evacuation order for the USC, West Hollywood, and Universal City was issued at 10 a.m. this morning, and an evacuation center has been set up at the Staples Center. All events have been postponed for the near future. Currently, the LA Fire Department and the Los Angeles County Fire Departments have transferred engines to these areas. The fires are now 50% contained. We expect full containment by tomorrow morning. Classes at USC have been canceled until further notice. Residents in these areas are urged to evacuate if they have not already. Now we'll take your questions. And then people start asking questions, and they don't really know anything, which is how those things usually go. So if you have any questions that you would like the reporters to ask, you can say what that question is, and I'll give you whatever pat answer they might give you for that. I didn't actually write out the Q&A.
Yeah.
How long do you expect to have to take for these fires to be under control? And what percentage of containment do we have already?
Well, as I said before, we have 50% contained. We expect by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, roughly, that we will have 100% containment. Flames may not be entirely out, but it will not be spreading.
What about the children? Has anybody thought about the children?
Who has given their thoughts and prayers?
Yeah.
Is it unusual to have fires of this magnitude start in different sections of the city at the same time?
Is this a reporter's question?
Yeah.
Yes, this is extremely unusual. Normally, fires happen. We in Los Angeles City, we don't have more than maybe one structure fire a day, if that.
Do you know what the structures were that were the source where the fires started?
We haven't found, by the time most of the fire engines, firefighting personnel got to these locations, it had spread to other structures. So we do not know yet which, if we do not know where these fires started, which structures they started in.
Are they considering this a terrorist event?
At this time, we have no reason to believe this is a terrorist event. However, we are looking into all possibilities.
Are these explosions limited to LA County, or are they up and down the West Coast?
We have not had reports of any other fires of this nature outside of the Los Angeles County.
Will there be an interruption in gas service to the area? And if so, when do you expect it to be reestablished?
Yes, gas has been turned off to these areas and surrounding areas, and will be off until further notice. And then people start asking the same questions again.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need their
Rephrasing, right.
They need their reporters asking that question, which always happens.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any other question.
I'm going to help. And we're going to basically just gather all of the important paperwork in the house.
Okay.
Load it up in the car, and then I'll have him drive me to the coterie.
Okay.
What
Do you guys
direction-
have a hangout that you go to?
I'm assuming that we do.
I would think so.
I kind of think the church might make a really good place to meet up, but that's up to Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It's kind of got a big empty space to.
it does have a big empty space, and like the main area of the church is not like where she sleeps. You guys probably don't know where she like daytimes. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
One last question I wanted to ask about the reporters was, what direction is the fire spreading? Towards Atwater Village? Because you said this is at Universal and it's just over the hill.
It's spreading basically in all directions.
Okay.
The structures, ash, flaming embers go up into the air. They land someplace. It spreads the fire.
Though not as badly as if it was like not January. Thank goodness.
But it is just like right over the hill, right? Kind of.
Not.
Well, you guys are kind of the southern part of
Yeah.
the Glendale area. If you were up in the northern end, you'd be right there. And that's kind of the border too, because once you start hitting the valley, that's kind of
Atwater Village is sort of like the zoo.
yeah.
Griffith
It's
Park.
a strip of like a strip
Yeah.
of Glendale between the
Follow
zoo.
San Fernando Road, kind of Gold Coast Brewery and
Yep.
all that area through there. Where the Disney animation ranch is, not the studio, but they're
The Imagineering campus.
that whole area.
I guess when I was thinking about it, the way we had talked about it before, because Atwater's on the other side. If you go, instead of going over towards the Burbank border, go towards like the Echo Park border.
Okay.
So like, so we have the zoo, the Americana,
It's
and
still
then you
that.
come down
Okay.
like more towards that 134.52
Yeah.
interchange rather than the like when you're going.
It's
more
like where
and
Bill
more
used to
out.
live.
Bill lives way farther north.
Well, he does now. But at
No.
the time, it was like the
In
2 and
when he
134.
lived in Glendale, it was way farther north. He was north of the 210.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like more of a like, I'd be more concerned about, like, because the universal citywide fire wouldn't be. That's more like the, like, we have Burbank as a buffer.
Right.
And the cemetery.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff in between us and the fire.
Yeah, and then, like, between us and the Pasadena fire is Deco Park.
Yeah. We got a buffer zone.
Okay.
That's probably fine for now.
For now, but, like, who's blowing up, like, 5 neighborhoods in LA?
I just know that vampires and fire don't mix at all.
This is true. It's actually probably
It's something
more of
I'm
an
very
issue for
concerned
you
about.
than it is for the rest of us. Because you have to find places to hide every night.
Well, and Rotscheck is not something they want to mess around with.
Ideally.
Fear frenzy rolls are awesome.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay, so I'm going to grab a copy of the newspaper and hurry myself to the church.
Okay.
Yeah, head over there.
I have a little doctor's bag that I carry with me, like one of those classic old doctor's bags. It's full of bandages and, isopropyl alcohol and syringes and stuff. And it's how they recognize me. So I'll have my bag with me and head off to the church.
Okay. All right. Are you all heading?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're all at the church.
Sweet. So you guys get there, and she's probably, like, dramatically looking out the window, like, the infernal flames surround us.
I have visually speaking, I can totally see you silhouetted against one of these old stained glass windows, and the lights are flickering because of the flames, and it's just casting this awesome shadow on the floor as
Also,
we walk
the
in.
cathedral is haunted.
Love it.
Well, even I, when I'm undead, take a stop at the door and gulp. It's quite an image. God, she gives me the creeps.
And then she notices you, like she was just talking to herself. It's like, oh, you're here already. Oh, good.
I'm just figuring how I'd edit the shot of the entrance into this place. Because this is an awesome piece of imagery.
And it's definitely, like, she doesn't keep it immaculate either. It's got, like, dramatic cobwebs and, like, stuff is tipped over just, like, where it was.
I definitely, like,
It's like my house.
walk in, dust something off, and sit down on it. Like,
Sets a pew up.
just like, oh, God. This again.
The chair from the last time they said I went up is still sitting there. I can
That
totally
chair is
see it.
dead
I'm
today.
totally...
Someone else probably touched it since I've been here last.
pigeons.
You can see handprints in the, like, dust.
Is it pigeon free? Do you keep it pigeon free?
There's probably a raven, but no pigeons.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, did you guys read about the fires?
I mean, hard to avoid the news when
Hard to not notice.
Just over the hill, one of the reporters was saying that fires seemed to start all at the same time in various parts of the town. Considering what's happened recently with the Inquisition and such, I wonder if this is an act of the Inquisition. It seems really odd that they would have 5 separate events simultaneously, fire events simultaneously across LA County.
It does seem rather intentional.
It does.
It says
not
one of them
hesitate to say.
started in an abandoned house. It easily could be someone's haven.
But
True.
Do you know any of these missing people? Do we know any of these missing people?
Oh, good question.
There's a Daniel Stammer. There's a Dimitri Yiannopoulos.
there's a missing dog named Nosferatu.
Oh, sweet buddy.
There's a black cat with a single pearl. Is that from Star Trek? There was
No.
the cat with the single with the gem on it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely
Do we?
I once knew
Roberto?
a woman by the name of Abigail Athenbright, but I believe that may have just been a different era.
There's a Roberto Faustus. Do we know? Do any of these people are they any of them in our clans or
No.
do we know? Okay.
You don't recognize any kindred names, no.
Okay.
But the amount of devastation that these fires are going to wreak upon the Kine is quite extreme. Would the Inquisition risk such blanketed destruction just to get rid of a few of us?
Somebody did, and they used fire.
Yes, I would say, from what I have seen of humanity over the years, 100% yes.
I
They're quite
agree,
capable.
but usually under desperation.
But first, before we jump to any conclusions, we might reach out and see if these were strongholds whose domains were hid.
True.
Especially seeing as if it is the case and this was a coordinated strike against 5 domains at the same time, that we would want to fortify our position.
Does anybody have a direct line to Miroslav? Or your Tremors?
I mean, my...
You would all be able to contact your Primogen.
Yeah.
That's your clan representative in the council.
I'm certain they're fucking flooded with calls right now, too.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the worst idea.
Is it? I mean, it might be too early to. Do the Nosferatu have anything to say?
I have not heard anything, but I will begin the process of putting my ears to the ground and see.
For all I know, my clan members did it. I don't know. It would be exactly the kind of thing a Bruja would do, just to.
And, I mean, I do notice that Universal City Walk is not exactly far into the valley. I shall contact my Primogen,
Okay.
and at the very least leave a message with her service.
Okay.
Yeah, same here.
If you guys want to take note of your Primogens, I can give you the names of them.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, please.
Tremere is Georgina Bruno.
Like, Bruno, like...
Bruno.
Never mind.
Like Bruno Mars.
I was... Can I... Because I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the guys I work with, his name is Bruno.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to change it?
Yes, please.
To what?
Anything else.
How about Brunaeu?
No.
Okay,
I mean,
you
he's
can't-
French. He's, like, one of the only families, like, it cannot... I mean, it just can't be Bruno.
Okay.
If we ever say that again, I'm just gonna, like, burst out the giggles.
Can we meet Brunel?
It could be, you want it to be a French basis?
I think she is more like Croat. I think.
Oh, I don't know anything about those names.
I'll just look up another name real quick.
Thanks.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Wow, you're so high maintenance.
I know,
She
right?
X-carded the
Except
Primogen
there's,
name.
There's a whole thing with his name, and, like,
I get it.
it's a thing.
I get it. Like for example, if I wrote a song once that had some names in it that amongst Bogart friends, and I'm like, "Are you guys okay with this?" And they were like, "No, my daughter's name is that name, and I really don't want her in a song." I'm like, "Completely fair. We'll come up with another name." So I get it.
I'm just looking for one that starts with the Blazjic.
Great.
B-L-A-Z with a thing over it. I-C with a thing.
B-L-A-Z-I-C. I don't know what the things are supposed to be, so I'm just
One
gonna
looks like a
pretend.
smiley face, and the other one looks like a tilde.
Swinton?
I'll take it.
Schwaz, and then there's
Georgina is now fan casted as Tilda Swinton in my eyes.
Yep.
Every game needs a Tilda Swinton.
she's
Word.
fantastic. She's so awesome.
The best.
Interesting person too.
So you get her service,
Uh-huh.
and you will be contacting. Where is the note? Simon Perkins. Just out of curiosity, because like 4 or 5 years ago, there was a massive upheaval in the Glittering Night. A new Primogen came into town.
yeah.
Which side of the... I mean, obviously you all ended up on his side eventually, but did any of you, like, resist?
No, man, it was all about Nosferatu becoming
Okay.
prince, so...
Yeah. I mean, he's sort of old school fire and brimstone.
Oh, yeah.
That aligns with Anna Sophia's general aesthetic.
I've just been keeping my head down and trying to stay under the radar for a long time. I don't even think I've contacted my Primogen. I don't even think we've ever met unless he sought me out.
I don't know if he would or not.
Well,
Maybe.
Gangrel are very territorial, so...
Bruja.
I mean, Bruja are also kind of
Yeah.
very, very territorial.
They just bathe them all.
Well, it's the whole alpha male sort of...
Right.
I'm going to say that Lakshmi had heard of her Primogen before. Like, she knew of Georgina, and you had told me that she is the consort too.
Yes.
So that she went with him from the start.
Yeah.
because of
No.
his
Yeah.
consort.
They traveled together.
Exactly.
Here. Yeah.
So as soon as she arrived,
Okay.
it was like, oh, well, if Georgina. This
Okay.
seems like the ways the winds are blowing.
Okay. So Simon Perkins, you have a cell number.
Okay.
Right to voicemail.
Yeah. I basically asked the pertinent questions. Is this going to be considered to be an attack upon us? Do any of the target locations seem to align towards that? And what instructions do we have as far as the city to do?
Okay.
Awaiting orders, Captain.
Okay.
I would like to know my Primogen's name. I'm not going to contact them, but
Silas the Great.
Ooh, so dramatic. I love it.
What's the Bruja?
The Bruja.
Well, it's that Russian dude, right?
That's right.
You even had a picture of
Balanos
him.
Vasilopoulos.
You're going to have to spell that.
Balanos.
Mm-hmm.
Balanos, probably. Vasil, Vasil. Opoulos. Opoulos.
He's Greek.
Yes.
B-A-N-L-O-S? Banlos?
Balanos, Balanos.
I would like to use my Auspex 2 premonition ability to see if I can get some information on the fire.
Okay. Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Yes. It's on my character sheet.
It is the
Listen,
Auspex.
premonition.
Is that a real thing?
I'm just
so
checking.
sad.
Make it up.
Well, the only reason I say that is because sometimes Malkavians think they have powers they don't have.
Okay. Well, she definitely has
It's a valid thing.
weird ass vision, so let's try and have
This
one
is
of those.
Auspex?
Yeah.
Let me find it real quick.
Auspex level 2. The cost is, it says free
Oh,
or
okay.
one rouse check. I guess you get to pick.
I'll look. Whenever the starting is appropriate, this power gives the character a sudden hint.
Sam
that
gets the
aids
award
that.
for using the power first in the game. We're an hour in, she gets the... We get to find out how this... we get
like
to road
it.
test it now. Get some dice rolling.
Letting them find a clue they've missed or saving them from danger, whether it gives
That's
the
what let's
character
do.
a sudden vision of themselves walking into a trap or inviting red glow over the second right turn during the chase. Flash.
It's fascinating radio.
What up?
I love this so much. Like one of my favorite tropes is like unintelligible like mumbling. It's just like some,
Okay.
like word here or there that you can understand.
So the way this works, if you want to get a premonition on a specific thing, you do a rouse check. If you just say, "I want a premonition,"
Okay.
you just roll resolve plus aspects, and get it. It doesn't say how many. It doesn't say what you get. No, the number of successes determines the level of insight on the subject, if any.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so if I want to get a premonition specifically around the fires,
You
I
need
need
a
to do
rouse
a
check.
rouse check. Okay,
Yes.
and how do I do
One
that?
die, 6 or higher, your hunger doesn't go up. 5 or lower, your hunger goes up, but you still do the thing.
Oh, okay. 6.
Okay.
Not hungry. Okay, and
And
then
then
I roll resolve
plus
plus
Auspex.
Auspex. Okay. So my resolve is 4, and my Auspex is 2. And just one of these has to be a hunger dice?
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm going to do it backwards and use a blue one for hunger.
Okay.
And then what am I looking for?
You're looking for 6s or higher.
Okay.
And if your hunger die hits a 10 or a 1, I need to know that, because that's when things go bad.
Okay. No.
Okay.
On the hunger die, I got 3 7s and a 10. Do 10s explode?
No.
Okay.
No. Well, if you get 2 10s, it counts as 4 successes.
Okay. So I got 4 successes then.
Okay. Let's see. Focusing on the fires.
Yeah.
You see yourself in a subterranean chamber. A place you may have been before. Where is it? Yeah, Veliko Vejice, which is essentially Miroslav's throne room.
Oh, how do you spell it?
Veliko
Uh-huh.
Vije, C with the tilde,
Mm-hmm.
E.
Okay. Okay.
Veliko Vejice.
The prince's throne room. Okay.
That's like that's where he has events that deal with matters of state.
That's where he holds court, basically.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I just kind of see myself in there.
And everyone's there, and you can't really hear what he's saying, but you can see Miroslav, and he's sitting in his throne, and he's actually standing up in front of the throne, and he's saying something, and you can see people around him are cheering and screaming and.
Do I get a sense of when this is happening? Does this feel like future or present?
Future.
Okay.
Feels like future.
Okay.
You got 3 successes, you said, or 4?
4.
4.
Anything above 3 successes is usually pretty damn good.
Then I'm going to say that, after that sort of scene flashes away, you see another scene. You're seeing it personally, but you don't get the impression that this is you.
Oh, okay.
And you see it starts out completely black, and then you hear an explosion, and your eyes kind of open, and you're in a small bedroom, and there is flame boiling through the doorway into the room you're in.
Wow.
And I'll leave it at that.
Okay. And do I get a sense of past, present, or future for that one as well?
Past.
Past, okay. Last question. Did I feel like whoever's eyes I was looking for was a human or a kindred?
Probably a kindred.
Okay. Okay. So you all probably just see Anna Sophia go blank statue for a minute, and something is clearly happening to her that's weird. She's like, some hidden truths have been revealed to me. There will be an assembly in Miroslav's throne room soon. In the future, everyone will be there. He was making a dramatic address, and many were screaming and cheering. I also saw one of our own, a kindred, through their eyes, awakening in the dark, and flames erupted. Someone has attacked us.
It seems... Well, the past bodes ill, but the future...
Well, if this is a coordinated event by the Inquisition to hunt out vampires, I could see Miroslav gathering together the vampires and, egging them on and using it to see what they can do to find them. It could quite have been a pep rally that you saw.
Were the people screaming and cheering, did they seem happy or angry?
Manic.
Manic, okay.
And there, you recognized a lot. It was these were Kindred. These are all Kindred.
Yeah.
So we're possibly at the start of a war.
It does seem
another one.
like a dire portent, indeed.
Well, I suppose the first order of business then is to secure our own borders.
True.
If this is an attack by the mortals, then we want to make sure that our borders are secure.
Indeed. So I remember we put a few dots into defense for our domain. How does that work?
Yeah, because we have Portillion?
Yeah.
Portillon?
Is that the one that you know what's going on in your domain, or
No, the one where we have active defenses within our domain that we can tap.
let me look at it real quick. Because I don't remember.
Because the one the chasse is I'm keep reading this word as chassis. I'm just never going to stop. That's the size, correct?
I think that's right.
So that's why we have such a giant domain, because we have 4 dots in that.
Yeah.
So we could get the Americana, because it was real important to get that.
Listen.
We have 3 in
Great
lean,
place
which
to
would
get people.
assume would be income. And then we have Portillon, 3 in Portillon, and 3 in status. So we're actually
Really
Our
good.
domain is
well.
pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Because we spent all those extra dots that y'all didn't spend on your characters on the domain.
I didn't know we had so many dots left over. That's amazing. I thought we had 3 or 4. That's wow.
No, I had notes on that on my old character sheet. Well,
Okay, basically what it does is whatever dots you have, that's a penalty to anyone trying to sneak in without you guys knowing,
Great.
basically. So, it could be, you could be tapped into, web cameras, or it could be whatever you want it to be that makes it more difficult for people to sneak in, basically. That's everyone. Vampires, Second Inquisition, police.
I kind of like the Raven connection. Do you have animalism?
I sure do.
Great.
Can we have a bunch of ravens that report to...
We can.
Nice. I've also got 3 in tech.
Okay.
Plus, I guess I could lean on my contact, my app contact. So
I've Googled the parrots.
Oh my god!
They're outsiders that don't belong here, and they need to be taken care of, so I take care of them, and I've Googled them, and they're my personal spy network.
Explains why they're always out in the evening and they're so annoying.
Yep.
And they talk, too.
climate change.
For those not from the Los Angeles area, we have parrots
Flocks.
that are not indigenous, but there's a lot of them, and they eat something, and they're...
We have a lot of fruit around here.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
eat fruit.
Yeah.
If you've listened to our other podcasts, sometimes you've heard that noise flying over.
Yes.
Well, Pasadena specifically has a massive parrot.
They go back and forth between,
we have them in Long Beach, too.
population.
Yep. Oh, I have them Long Beach.
You missed it. He's...
Not as many as here, because the flock here is probably 100 of them. When they get going, there's big bands of them flying all together. They don't seem to fly very well. They have to flap really hard, but
Our
and
info
they're
gathering
loud.
system is he ghouled the parrots.
Beautiful. First it was dolphins, and now it's parrots.
I suggested
Love it.
ravens because I thought...
They do bring you shiny things, which is nice.
So you've got tech, so you probably have cameras set up, maybe strategic areas at major thoroughfares into the area.
And Glendale is set up with the mortals did a lot of that work for me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they have the now defunct stoplight cameras and all that business as well.
Right. Okay. So we'll see it's a combination of
They
Yeah.
don't use
the
them,
parrots
but
and the
we
cameras.
use this. They're still there. We just turned them on.
Yeah.
I mean, just because I'm not sending unsuspecting people candid photos of them picking their nose.
Okay. So what do you guys? What was your plan of attack, or what's your?
So you want to secure the borders? How do you?
Yeah, well, we can tap into all of our networks and just figure out what's going on and see if we can mine that for
Yeah.
information.
I mean, I guess the first thing would be to see if anyone has attempted to breach our borders so far.
Okay.
I can go down to the homeless population. They know stuff and get around and virtually unseen, and I'll see if they can keep an ear out for us.
Okay. All right. So you look on the history of the camera over at super fast speed over the course of the last 10 hours. There's people coming and going, but you don't see anything untoward. You don't see a column of black vans coming down the freeway or anything like that. Very recently, you do see. I need a character sheet. I can never remember all the stuff. Someone remind me. Awareness, is that the same as? Awareness is the.
Awareness is a skill. It's not
Yeah,
an
it's
attribute.
It's a
skill.
perception.
Yeah.
It's basically a perception. Insight is the or is it? Insight is looking.
Insight is I believe is trying to
Is reading body language.
reading body language and
Okay.
get something out of somebody. Awareness is sort of like a supernatural perception, from what I remember.
So is it just
Yes.
like a regular perception, or do they use
They're-
awareness for that now?
I think he's awareness for regular perception, but I'm gonna look it up. real
yeah,
quick.
I'm sure because that
I
might be it.
think it is.
I think.
But one of the things that I'm keeping a sharp eye out for in these things are unmarked work vans.
Okay.
Work vans that belong to companies that probably maybe should not be in that area.
Okay.
Because if somebody's messing with the gas system, it's going to take some tools and some know-how.
Right.
So I'm trying to keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
Also, I have Influence 3. So are there any mortal contacts that I might be able to mine?
Influence is a
It's background.
background. Well, yeah, you probably the whatever the local substation is, the LAPD substation. You probably have a friend there. You can.
Yeah, I'll just shoot a text and go, hey, what's up with the fires? Is there anything I should know? Just let me know if there's anything I can do. Blah blah blah.
Okay.
So insight is read body language, figure out it's contact kind of more of a social skill, and then awareness is handles your perceptions.
Okay.
No, there you go. Perfect.
All right. So you're both basically going through the previous day's footage.
Right.
Both of you go ahead and make that intelligence awareness roll.
And one of these dice is your hunger dice.
One of those dice is your hunger dice. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, so let's say you get a critical failure on your hunger dice. What exactly happens while you're staring at the screen?
I only got one success, but no critical anything.
And
I
if
got
no
2, 3
No.
successes,
What's your hunger
and
die?
my hunger dice is 4.
Okay.
Hunger die. Sorry.
You don't see any of those telltale
Okay.
things that you're looking for. The only thing that you notice is as you're going through the old footage and you watch through it, you don't see anything that looks untoward. But when you flip back to live, you see someone that you would know who this is. You see Anna Tremont, who is one of the sheriff's hounds. The sheriff is like the sort of the law keeper in the domain, and the hounds are the sort
There's
of like
deputies.
deputies, basically.
Anna Tremont.
Tremont or Tremont.
Tremont.
She's on a motorcycle.
So she is
Welcome to
coming
America.
to,
Yeah.
like, does she look like she's coming here? Where is she going?
Probably. She got off the freeway and she's going down San Fernando, headed toward the church.
Okay. Anathrama.
Oh,
One of the dogs is coming to us.
here.
Yes.
Well, we should await her, I suppose.
It seems like it would be a waste of time to...
What clan is she?
Bruja.
do otherwise. From what I can see, we did not have any incursions so far,
That is good.
but I'd like to set up some alerts for basics, while we're waiting on
Okay.
the dog to arrive.
All right. You get a text back 5 minutes later.
Cool.
And says, there's been nothing here. We've been patrolling. Sure looks like terrorism. Ooh. We should figure out who this person is, too, real quick.
How do you spell suspicious?
Suspicious.
Yes, thank you.
It's one of those words that looks wrong when you think about
Exactly.
It looks suspicious.
Oh.
it. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for being here for me.
What's the officer's name? Or is it maybe a dispatcher?
Sure, dispatcher. Let's say Corey Simmons.
Corey what?
Fitzsimmons.
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 Hey, like the coroner. I
Right.
googled. Oh, he's probably dead now.
I think
Oh.
you guys ate him, didn't you? I don't remember.
I might have murdered him. I don't
I
remember.
think that's right. Didn't
You
get
sent
obsessed?
him to go kill someone.
Oh,
And
yeah,
they
I
sent his
murdered him
head
by
back.
practice. Yeah.
We don't know if he died or not, though, do we?
Well, I think you got his head back. I seem to recall you got the head back.
Okay.
That will do it.
He's pretty dead.
He was obsessed with you, right?
Yeah.
Sent it to you, HeadX.
So useful until
Head X.
Oh,
Until he
I guess that's a
decided he
fun-
really wanted to be a vampire.
Yeah, and I was
so he could
like,
spend
you
all
would
of his
not
time
make
with
a
you.
good Toreador. I'm sorry.
That was it. You were like, no.
Oh, that is
For
a
the
fun
good of the
thing
clan.
to do, I suppose. Lakshmi
Too
has
nebbish.
Lakshmi has a stalker.
Ooh. Do we know about your stalker?
Probably not.
Okay.
They're inconsequential.
That is
Really? You're like yoga instructor of the stars? Can't be like Brad Pitt or somebody? How awesome would that be?
Brad Pitt's still immortal.
Is he, though?
No, tone it down. Make it more like a Michael Bublé.
The face I'm making.
that's a good face. Yeah.
That's perfect. I struck gold just on random.
I kind of. Oh my god. Just that dude from Coldplay who was like Gwyneth Paltrow's ex.
Oh,
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. I kind of want to be him now. Because you got me the mind thinking that way. But whatever. Just because when you think about, like, the people I prey upon.
Yeah.
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 Jade vagina eggs.
Yep.
I have a Christian censorship organization that's my enemy. That is against horror movies.
Oh, nice.
I love it.
It's like I just need a minor little enemy. Oh, that'd be cool. It'd be kind of a neat element.
That's Hollywood too.
That's fun.
Okay. So anyone? She's definitely headed to your church.
Yeah, okay. I'll just wait for her here.
Okay. So she shows up, parks her bike out in front, kind of looks along the move. You guys are inside, I assume.
I've, like, opened the door for her, because
Okay.
it looks abandoned, and, like, there's a, don't go in here sign on, like, the fence, like, the wrought iron fence outside.
Got it.
So, like, I've opened the door for her so she knows.
You're like holding a candle or a lantern or something?
Yeah.
And I assume that, like, since she knew to come here, and this is our kind of official place that we
Meeting
meet.
spot.
Okay.
Who has a haven large enough for us all to be in the same place at the same time?
It is probably the most conspicuous place in our domain. At least the outside.
That appeals to me.
Well, there is a merit to hiding in plain sight, though. A lot of people go to that vampire hangout. Obvious.
Too obvious.
It's a church. Everybody's going to go, nah. It's a church. It wouldn't be hanging out in a church.
Oh, yes, we would.
Besides, it says VA meeting. They don't know that VA means Vampires Anonymous. But
Can't be vampires anonymous. Everybody knows your name here.
I didn't realize we were cheers.
Okay. So she gets up and says, Anasphere,
Anna,
pleasure to see you.
you as well.
Everyone here?
Yes. Well, mostly.
I'm playing Message Girl.
I was expecting a message.
They inside? May I come in?
Of course.
She walks inside. Lakshmi?
Anna?
Felix?
Anna.
Saving the world there, Floyd?
as best I can.
Very good. First item on the agenda, do something with your cell phones so they never work again.
I don't own one.
If you have to have something, get a burner. As has always been the case, the masquerade is on even when you're on a cell phone. But get rid of what you got.
She crushes her current burner phone and picks out a new one.
Same. It's like already?
Go through these so frequently.
I feel like we should be on some kind of frequent buyer program.
That's a good idea.
And item 2, Miroslav has called an all-hands Elysium to Veliko Vegice. Is that what I said the name of the place was?
Yeah.
Yeah, Veliko Vegice.
Oh, so soon.
Tomorrow night.
Oh.
I just double take on her.
Yeah.
It will be dramatic. I've seen it.
Okay. And that's it.
We will be there.
Yes. So, as we are currently gridless,
Yeah.
this Second Inquisition?
Don't know. Maybe.
The targets?
Haven't seen Miroslav. Haven't seen any of the Primogen Council. The sheriff just came to me and said, do this. And I said, yes, I will go do that.
Were any of the targets known?
I don't know everyone. I do know our area pretty well. I can tell you that the Universal City coterie is missing. And their havens is tough to get around over there right now.
Well,
But-
I mean,
Their havens, at least two of the 4 I was able to get to, are gone. So, Second Inquisition, maybe.
or a move by the valley.
Yeah.
Could be the
I did
Anarchs.
notice that
Possible.
all of these targets were south of the 170.
I'm headed up to Pasadena now. I can stop by and give you guys a report on my way back.
That would be much appreciated.
I'm told it's in Bungalow Haven area. It's some area north of the 210 in Pasadena.
There's some shady individuals that live north of the 210 in Pasadena.
Yes, there are. Most
I
of
mean,
them are.
there are shady individuals who live across the landscape. We are, after all, where we are.
Anna Sophia will share with her like the limited information from her second vision.
Okay.
And just say, I don't know if it is of help to you, but please pass this information along to the sheriff. This is what I saw.
I will. All right, I'll swing back by in a few hours.
Safe travels.
Big Harley goes, brat, brat.
If you want to foul us, they can do that. Cool.
I'm leaning towards thinking this was done by humans. I mean, in my vision, the Kindred was caught unawares, just waking up for the day.
Just,
So, I mean, it could
I
have
mean,
been a ghoul
based on the
human,
newspaper reports, these were detonated.
but, they could have been on timers.
Yes.
They chose to detonate them. When did they go off?
5:30 a.m.
5:30 a.m. just at sunset?
Just at sunrise.
Just before, right around sunrise.
So, yeah, 5:30 this morning. So, that's no real, it's just a distraction. Anything,
Well,
It could
generally the mortals have wanted to strike us when the sun is its highest.
Exactly. That's the
Yeah.
interesting thing is that these were set up at night, not day. When the mortals are active at day, they could easily have just done it then.
That is so odd.
Well, if they set them off in the morning time and they expected the fires to spread,
Or if they set them in the havens when they knew that the Kindred would be gone.
That is possible.
Yes.
On timers. Though, so that could point to humans or Kindred.
It could be either.
We definitely need more information.
Yeah. It seems to me that the humans would want to do it during the day when they're safe. No Kindred would catch them at daytime.
Most Kindred not.
Well, I suppose we can use tonight to gather as much information as we can, and it should be an interesting time at Miroslav's tomorrow.
True. Well, it's an interesting thought that so Anna said she had gone to Universal City.
And 2 of the havens are completely obliterated, and the rest of their coterie is missing.
Yes. But it's not the worst thing to go and see what we might be able to see in West Hollywood, since she was going to Pasadena afterwards. Because she was headed from here to Pasadena, correct? Yes. So we go to West Hollywood.
And it will be
Glean what there is to glean.
difficult to get too near the locations if they're still burning.
True, it because of that location, they would need to put it out. It would be a priority.
That's true.
Universal City is rather contained. Pasadena the same. West Hollywood and USC would be their priorities to contain because of the mortal population in both of those areas.
Yeah, if it spreads, it would be more dangerous.
Also, we could just check the internet right now and see what is actually contained. Not to be.
There is the internet. And we have that.
But the LAPD has a Twitter now.
It's true.
What information?
We just want to see how contained. We're either going to go to USC or West Hollywood, so which one is more contained?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm checking a map real quick.
What does he want to see there? What, you look for clues or?
See if there are any hints of kindred interference, or if the mortals maybe left some traces behind of what they've done. Anything to give us an idea one way or the other, but gosh, explosives are not generally something our kind deals with. And it seems like if at the very least we could see if there was a supernatural aspect. Sorceress. That was the word I was looking for, sorry.
It is a rather impersonal method of attack.
True.
Something like this indicates someone knows the general vicinity of a target and not the exact pinpointed location. So you would literally carpet the area.
Or
to get
they're
what you
attempting
want.
to disguise a pinpoint attack as a blanket.
Indeed.
So you're probably going to have an easier time getting into Universal City
Oh, okay.
than you are. I mean, I'm looking at a map.
Mm-hmm.
It's. Would you? Do you want to? Do you care about me? If you don't care about being seen, you could totally head into either North Hollywood or the USC area.
WeHo, not NoHo.
Hmm. Oh, that's the wrong one. I keep messing that up. Sorry.
It's just a really, really different area.
Well,
Yeah.
Yes, and there's a mountain range between them too.
Yep. Which begs the question: is NoHo
NoHo is part of the
the
Anarchs.
Anarchs? Yeah. Okay.
Those of you not in the LA area, NoHo is North,
North Hollywood,
and WeHo is,
West
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
and there is no EHO.
Yes, there is. I'm somebody's son.
Love that so much. Also, technically, I think it's called Thai Town. I mean, when you're on the wrong side of the 101 over there, it's technically East Hollywood. They just call it Thai Town.
As opposed to East LA, which is a whole different thing.
Very different thing.
It's very confusing. You got to be a local.
So, I would say the USC area is probably going to be the worst to try to get to,
Okay.
just because of the police presence and all that.
Yeah.
But you could approach West Hollywood from the north and probably sneak in. Universal City, kind of the same thing from. Well, yeah.
I mean,
West Hollywood probably is your best bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. West Hollywood it is.
Okay.
Sounds good. Out of character, do any of us have cars?
Someone's got 5 dots in wealth. I'm sure
Yeah.
he's
That's
got a
true.
car.
Car's waiting outside.
With a driver, no less.
Is it Tuesday? Let's take this Lexus.
Helicopters.
No one drives Lexuses anymore. What are you thinking? He has 7 Teslas.
Derp.
Cybertruck.
Cybertruck.
Oh God, never. I mean, if I want to drive the Batmobile, I will buy the Batmobile.
No, I want to get the Cybertruck just to put a flux capacitor in it.
Oh, it worked for a guy who had a DeLorean.
Nice.
Those cars had major problems.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, off to West Hollywood.
Okay. So you give me. Let's make that wits. I'm going to call it stealth. To kind of find your way. No, this is just for
him?
yeah.
Okay.
To kind of find your way through the fire department blockades and things like that. And add your hungry die.
My hungry die is a 10.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
but I got 2 10s, and my specialization is break-in.
Nice.
Okay, so that would be that. That's that good success. Let's see. Okay, so your hunger hit and another die hit, so you've got that gives you 4 successes, and you had any other successes besides the 4?
No, 5, 4, and 3 were my other.
Okay. All right, a messy critical.
Oh, good.
Okay. We're going to have to kind of piece together what happened here. Because when you have a messy critical, one of 3 things needs to happen. You take 1 or more stains, there's a masquerade breach, or you lose a dot in an advantage.
Wow.
If neither of those things happen, then it basically just becomes sort of a failure, a bad failure, or like a bestial failure. So you did something, and the beast kind of took over because it's the hunger die that took over.
Yeah, because the beast took over while I was trying to navigate.
Right. So maybe you blew past a police barricade and hit a cop.
That's a good one.
It's like, I kind of can't find my way through here. It's pissing me off. And then something along those lines.
Let me think. Well, what are stains like? I don't know what a stain is.
Okay, the way stains work is you have a humanity track. Mm-hmm. The empty squares you have is how many stains you can take. If you take more than that number of stains in a game session, bad things happen. At the end of every game session, you're going to roll whatever empty humanity squares you have left. And if you get a success, you feel terrible about what you've done, and then you erase the stain. If you fail, you don't feel terrible about what you've done. You lose a point of humanity, and you erase the stains.
I stopped an ambulance from getting somewhere that it needed to be by being where I was.
Okay, all right. Okay. So mark on your humanity starting on the left side. You've got some empty squares, probably 3 or 4.
Well, I got 4. Well, I got the humanity that I have as empty boxes, so I think it did it backwards. So that's fine. I'll just mark 1.
Okay.
There you go.
And then whatever empty squares you have left of humanity,
right,
that's what you will roll, and you need 1 success to feel terrible about it to erase them at the end of the session.
I think I did it backwards too. I think I filled in what my humanity is. And
that's what you should do.
That's correct.
You should fill in your humanity, and then you have those empty squares.
I have a humanity of 6, but I have 6 empty squares.
Oh, I was supposed to say, did you do that for all of your pips? Because that would be amazing.
Yeah. No, humanity works differently than what I was.
Yeah, it's kind of everything is kind of backwards now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like there's a blockade, and you get out of the car and take the blockade and block off a different street, and then drive along, and here comes an ambulance going, oh, I can't go that way, I have to go the other way.
Yeah.
Hope the guy makes it.
Right.
And you see that in the rearview mirror as you're going by.
I'm like, ah, shit. Made a hasty decision, but I still got 4 successes.
Right.
I mean, we definitely got it and no one noticed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's what's important.
you guys are in an area where there's actually a freaking firestorm. I really need to get to.
Start rolling raw checks.
Well, it's just a. It would be a
Composure.
a terror frenzy.
Oh, good.
Fancy!
So you guys are driving in whatever big SUV.
I'm thinking it's a nice big
Bentley.
SUV,
The
yeah.
Bentley.
No, I'm thinking it's probably an Escalade or something like that.
Okay.
Because he's old enough American to want a Cadillac.
Good cars. Big Lincoln Continental.
There you go. No, I got into a huge argument with the guy from the ads a while ago. I'll never buy it. I'll never get a Lincoln.
What does Bing burned mean? I think that's a typo. Oh, being burned. Okay. What's a Bing burn? I'm going to say this would be the equivalent of a bonfire, so you'd have a difficulty 2, which means you need 2 successes to succeed at this roll. And you will be making a terror frenzy roll which is versus your willpower. So you take your willpower in dice, and you roll them, and you need 6s or higher for successes.
All of us?
Yeah, your guys are driving past blazing buildings.
And this also has a die.
Hunger die or no?
Hunger die on it?
I don't think. Let me double check. Never roll hunger dice on willpower, humanity rolls, or checks. Right
Okay.
at the top of my sheet, right
Perfect.
there, because it happens 1,000 times.
All right. So we're rolling our willpower and what? Just straight willpower.
Just your
Just
willpower,
willpower.
and you need 2 successes.
Okay.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. But I passed.
You have all the willpower in the world. Look at that. That's astonishing.
Yeah, well, you have a high composure.
6s and above?
Yes.
6s and higher. Yeah.
Okay, then I got 2.
I got the 3 successes.
Okay.
Oh, Stork.
What is your willpower? That's a tiny handful of dice you got there.
My willpower is 3.
Oh my
What is it?
god.
It's just your composure plus your what? Resolve, I believe?
Yeah.
Is that a 2 and a 1?
He is
Yeah.
uncomposed.
I mean, I am uncomposed, but I have steely resolve.
2 successes.
Rock.
Oh, you did? Wow. Ooh. All right.
I really, really don't like this. I'm in a car and there's fire. I really don't like this.
So you kind of get, you kind of, I mean, this area you're in, there's buildings on fire on both sides of the street. There's not one firefighter in sight. So this is not contained yet.
Okay.
And you go a little farther down and it starts getting more and more burned and less flamey, so it's probably gets a lot easier on you. And then, so you're going to try to find, what do you specifically want to try to look for here? You want to try to see where it started?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The nucleus of the explosion.
Okay. We'll make that wits plus awareness. And everyone can make that roll, I suppose, because you're all
Okay.
kind of looking. You're all trying to figure out where it's coming from. Or you don't have to all make the roll. I should say, because of the fact that you each have a hunger die involved,
that's
not
true.
everyone has to make that roll.
I had 4 successes.
I don't think I need to make that roll then.
Yeah.
And what's your hunger die showing?
9.
Okay. All right. Okay, you're pretty sure there's like a one sort of small city block, and you can see like everything around it's burned, and it's an ash heap at this point. I mean, there's a fireplace standing up, and there's a.
This is LA.
I got a fireplace.
I know,
So do
it's
I.
not. It's just
They're
a.
decorative.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to use mine. That's what the inspector said. It's old. The flue is only like that big. It's tiny. But yeah, there's like you can see the chimney sitting there, and looks like it was. There's like a 2 or 3 houses, and there's like an apartment building. They're all gutted. The apartment building is kind of standing, but the fire did a number on it.
Okay. Well. Who all is here? Like.
Well, you could make some sort of social thing to see if you know anyone who lives in this area.
Just looking, like, so we're here now.
Mm-hmm.
Who is here? Like,
Oh, it's abandoned. There's no one around.
no one at all.
No, evacuated. It looks. You can see the flashing lights of fire where they're fighting certain sections of it. At this point, they're just trying to stop it from spreading.
Okay, so we're still in, like initial containment
Yes.
kind of procedure. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not supposed to be here.
I mean, we're never supposed to be here, but I
No.
just
That's
was
true.
curious that no one else was here.
Supposed to be anywhere.
So, great. Let's see.
Oh, I will say you do see sort of like the remnants of like paramedics and ambulance detritus on the ground, open, pull up
Pads,
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
burn all the things.
Yeah. All kinds of stuff that they just left on the ground, and then. But if someone is particularly socially connected and would like to figure out what kind of a what would that be? I don't even know.
Yeah,
it'd be under a fame background, I think.
Oh, I have Fame 1.
As do I.
Well, that's
I'm not
people.
sure that,
That's
like-
people knowing you, though.
Yeah. Rather than the other way
I
around.
think it would definitely be under a background of some sort. I think because influence and those kind of things that you're.
Well, it could also be like.
I was thinking.
It could be like streetwise because you know who
Yeah, that's
lives
true.
in this area.
Yeah.
Like this apartment building is full of starlets or whatever.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, maybe like I would say either a streetwise or
Investigation.
I don't know. Maybe investigation.
I have 1 in investigation.
So do I, but I don't feel like
Not
that's
great.
like. It's not even about who lived here specifically, but like I guess what I was thinking when I got here was like, do I sense any magical?
Yeah.
Was this a magical blast? Did someone like set up a ritual
Okay.
to blow up these buildings,
Okay.
like in a way that would be like kindred?
That would be what, probably like resolve and insight. Is insight the supernatural, or is awareness still supernatural?
I think awareness now is just overall perception in general. If she has like,
So awareness is perception, but I do have sense the unseen,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so do
which
I.
is either wits or resolve plus my aspects.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I hope it's resolve because I got more resolve.
I think you can pick, yeah?
I don't know how that works actually. I didn't read
Because
that.
it just says one or the other, wits or resolve.
Well, let me look, because sometimes they give you specific
Okay.
examples.
But
And this is also aspects.
so this is aspects 1.
Sense the unseen. Whenever there's something supernatural hiding in plain sight, the story makes a hidden roll of wits plus aspects against the difficulty they choose. Against an entity actively trying to stay hid, the storyteller can call for a blind roll. For example, detecting a vampire using obfuscate would be wits plus aspects versus wits plus obfuscate. If the vampire actively searches for a hidden supernatural entity, they roll resolve plus aspects.
Okay.
Yeah. But there is like a dormant blood sorcery spells and rituals might also be found with this power at the storyteller's
Oh, okay.
discretion.
Okay. I would say make it wits plus aspects.
Man, it's not that much of a difference. It's just, you know.
Slightly different.
well, any advantage you can get, you want it.
Exactly.
We play games here. You
And
know.
you replace one of your dice with your hunger dice.
And my hunger dice says 7,
Okay.
and I did get 1 success.
Okay.
Well, that 7 also counts
2
as a
plus
success.
the hunger dice, yeah.
Oh,
That's a
yes,
success.
sorry.
Right.
2 successes.
2 successes.
Because I got a 9 and a 7, and then my other ones were failures.
You sense like almost zero supernatural stuff here. I mean, almost none.
Okay. I don't taste any lingering power. And I would expect to if the Kindred had said this. At the very least, because I know that I find explosives incredibly distasteful and not a risk I'm willing to take.
From
Even
what I
handling something that could cause fire is pretty risky for most kindred. I know
I'm assuming at this
personally.
point you guys are kind of on the periphery of this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't actually gone into it. I mean, there's smoldering. There's no flames left, but there's
Everything's real hot.
yeah. Heat's fine. Fire bad.
I am going to look for a sewer entrance.
Okay.
I'll go inside and I see if I can find if there are any gas lines in this section of the sewer.
Yeah. You've got gas lines down there.
All right. I'm going to trace them towards the center of the conflagration that is past.
Okay.
And I'm going to see if I can find any animals about. Rats.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to ask one of the rats if they saw somebody come through here.
Okay. Do you have to roll for that, or
I believe so. It's on page.
that's animalism?
It's animalism.
I have
It's
all of
Feral
those.
Whispers on 245.
Feral whispers.
It's good that you wrote the pages down. That's something we old people learn down. I gotta write down.
Oh, this is one of the ones I haven't formatted yet. It makes it harder for me to read because I cut and paste out of the PDF.
Oh, right, and then it always gets.
And now it's like a newspaper column. It's like this. Feral. I'm going to look at the. It'll be faster to look on the book. What page is that again?
245.
Feral Whispers, level 2. Cost is 1. Let's see. Cost is 1 rouse check per type of animal chosen for the scene. Allows 1 summoning and unlimited communication. Free when using on a famulus, which is probably the
that's my
fancy
dog.
word
Yeah.
for a familiar.
Yeah.
So, and your dice pool is manipulation plus animalism or charisma plus animalism. I'm going to bet you're going to use manipulation, but let me see if you have to. Summoning animal uses charisma plus animalism.
Oh, if there are already animals here.
Persuading an animal to perform a service requires manipulation plus animalism.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Because I'm asking for
Yeah, you're
basic
asking. Yeah,
information.
manipulation plus animalism. And you get your hunger die in there?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's a 4.
Okay.
I got 2 7s.
So you get
and
2
4s.
successes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are
Let's see.
really lucky that you don't have to like change like one cancels out successes
Yes.
situation going on.
Yeah.
You're the first one. You're the first like big rat that's been down here in a long, long, long time.
Oh, really? There's
Yeah.
nobody around here?
No, just little rats.
Anything weird go on other than the fire, before the fire?
How much would a rat recognize? What's going on?
It's a rat. They're intrinsically clever, but not very intelligent.
Right. There were big rats up there early.
Okay.
There were also dead rats up there.
Dead rats like me?
Yeah.
Are those dead rats around here often? Or
I don't think they're going to be anymore. Rat probably doesn't have that level of insight.
yeah, no, I'm not going. Here's a half-eaten Philly cheesesteak.
Yes. Made that rat's day.
Could made that rat's.
Yeah.
I go up and share the information that I got.
Okay.
So whoever set off the gas didn't do so through the mains down here.
If it was a gas explosion and not a.
But also it said there were big rats and dead rats, which makes it sound like the people who set the explosion were not Kindred.
But there were Kindred here, and they said they weren't going to be. They aren't here anymore, which means that they're gone. So
And were probably likely the targets.
It makes sense.
So we've narrowed it down to humans then. They're the big rats, not the dead rats. Okay.
It makes more sense.
It does. Well, it's good to know it's not kindred against kindred, because that's a whole other nightmare. Humans, I don't know.
I mean,
there are ups and downs to both.
true.
But this being so close to the Anarch border, I don't know. Wouldn't this kind of be like a frontline sort of situation?
I think Universal City is more of a front line.
Okay.
Yeah. West Hollywood's like.
Yeah.
Like
Let me
if-
get my map back up again. I almost bought a big map of like the Los Angeles area, so everyone could, and was going to draw on it with a Sharpie.
What's the
Maybe I
southern
will do that.
border of the Anarch region? Controlled territory.
Okay.
Fucking Sherman Oaks.
Fuck Sherman.
So their
I mean, I live north of Sherman.
their territory is basically probably through. There's using the freeways as sort of
Natural borders.
Like you do.
right. They basically have all of the valley. If you're heading down the 210 into Pasadena, they probably stop somewhere around like La Crescenta. And if you're coming down the 5, probably somewhere in Burbank is where they stop.
And the 101?
And the 101 probably stops just before Universal. So like the 134 kind of is sort of their southern border.
Okay, so where the 101 and the 170 split would be.
Sort of the neutral zone.
That's
would
it
be
up?
the contested zone. That would be the front lines.
Yeah.
Like the very southern edge of NoHo and Studio City would be heavily contested.
Yeah.
And
I'm not even seeing the
and
170.
we're on the front lines of that then. If
You're-
the 134 is their border.
You're pretty close. You're pretty
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you guys kind of do extend all the way up to the 134, huh? Yeah.
Because like right there, that 134, the 5 junction is where the Americana is.
Okay, so yeah, then that's definitely you're on the border.
Okay. Cool.
Which makes sense why our defenses are so heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of just like straight up paranoia,
Yeah. Yes.
we have need.
Yeah.
We should get out of here.
Yes. I don't think we should linger.
No. This is an uncomfortable place.
All right. Let's get the hell out of here because I'm not anxious to be here either.
Can we find a way back that doesn't drive through fire again, please?
I don't know. Can we?
You know, freeway or something.
You can try to wheedle your way through, and maybe find a way without fire. See how well you do.
OnStar.
If we know it's the Mortals, did we really take the car with the OnStar?
All my cars have OnStar. It comes standard. It's a GM vehicle.
Turn it off!
I have disabled the OnStar on all your
Unless you
vehicles.
use your car's like burner phones.
I was just
turn
kidding.
it off.
We're under a strict.
Just drive the car off a cliff and go get another one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, it's insured heavily.
You want to use? You could use OnStar.
No, it's
No.
fine. I would figure that once we were ordered to be off the grid, all of that stuff was shut down.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be silly. But yeah, well, we'll try our best to get out of here the safest way possible.
Because you don't want to be in a car with me if we get through flames again.
Make a now when you roll attributes without a skill, you double them.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's good.
So
to
that
know,
yeah. So just make a wits roll. And of course add the.
So that's 2 10s and a 9. My hunger die was a 9.
And so that's 5 successes.
Yep.
Wow. Nice.
Not
You
a
don't
problem.
need no OnStar.
You
Wind your
drive,
way
this
through.
way to work all the time.
Oh, I know all the back ways. I don't want to be
Yeah.
seen driving. That's just embarrassing.
Oh yeah.
That's true. Yeah, I like that.
Anything going up a little mountain road over the thing, and you don't come within blocks of a fire.
Beautiful.
But after we're out of there, I asked, well, where are we going at
Well,
this point?
I think we need to go back to the church and we need to.
we should return to the cathedral. Anna will be returning with hopefully some more news for us.
No, we should
I'm
exchange notes.
And I'm assuming you noted like the address or cross streets
Yeah.
of where they're okay. All right, so you guys get back to the church, and yeah, she's probably there waiting for you. She's probably sitting outside on her motorcycle.
Okay. We'll invite her back in. Oh. How did your trip to Pasadena go?
Well, we no longer have a coterie in northern Pasadena.
Oh dear. That is most unfortunate.
I checked all 4 havens. All 4 havens were hit. They're actually doing much better with their fire prevention up there. They've got it almost all completely contained.
That is a small comfort.
West Hollywood was not so well managed.
No. We did manage to trace the source to, I don't know, whatever the actual cross streets are.
Main and First. Huh?
Yeah.
That's downtown.
All right, let me look and see.
Mr. I just pulled up a map to
We
tell
want
you where they
100%
are.
accuracy for the people in Norway listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
It matters to you. You may not think it matters to you, but it matters to you. I'm gonna, Franklin and Las Palmas.
Ooh, Las Palmas.
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm assuming there's residential in that area.
Yep.
Is
Yep.
that-
There's residential all through
Yeah.
all
Okay.
through WeHo, even if it doesn't seem like there should be.
Isn't that right near the side ties?
I don't know. It's
Zoom
next
in
to a
little Google, I'll
Starbucks.
tell you.
Who isn't right next to a Starbucks?
How close is it to the Whole Foods over there? That's the real question.
That's how you navigate through LA. Whole Food to Whole Food.
Yeah.
I
I
don't.
mean, how else are you supposed to navigate through LA? No, I navigated through West Hollywood with how close am I to Fox at this point? Because that's the only reason I go to WeHo.
It's a block west from the Hollywood United Methodist Church. I'm not finding a lot of.
That's fine.
Oh, Dave and Buster's. It's not far from Dave and Buster's.
Oh.
No.
I mean, I know where.
I can see this game is going to get bogged down in geographic
That's why I want
details.
the big map, so I
know,
can draw
right?
it out with Sharpie. And
I really hope that somebody who listens to this later on has a companion map with them, and they zoom in on parts of LA when we talk about it. Go on that extra mile.
oh, what else?
Actually, the Los Angeles Tourism Bureau should be a sponsor.
Right?
For this podcast.
I know, right? I mean, it's kind of the great thing about setting.
In your town that you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
not just because, like, there are many parts. Like, if we had set this game in downtown, it would not be a thing. I don't know downtown that well, but like, we're
Except for the
literally
Fabric District.
setting this game. Like, our domain is a place I lived for 5 years.
Nice.
I lived in Los Feliz for 5 years.
Perfect. So, Anna, were you able to find any intel on who may be responsible?
He pulls out a bunch of shell casings,
Oh.
large caliber.
Would I recognize who uses these?
Well, some of them they're all like assault weapon calibers. Some of them are 223, which is like NATO,
Okay.
and some of them are 7.62, which is Eastern Warsaw Pact, Eastern Bloc, and also
I have firearms. Are they? I'm going to grab one and look at it. Are they incendiary? Like the.
there is an extreme amount of sort of carbonization on the inside and on the outside of each.
So they're all like
of the shell.
tracer bullets.
Or some sort of either a tracer or some sort of incendiary. Yeah.
Yeah, these were definitely made to kill vampires. Are they handmade? Can I tell that at all, or do they have standard?
You have firearms?
Yes, I do. Firearms too.
Make firearms and an intelligence roll.
Oh, frenzy on this one would be awesome.
No, I don't think I need blood with this one, right?
You got to use blood with every
With
roll.
every
Everything
roll,
except
unless it's
willpower.
willpower and humanity. Yeah.
Unless it's a track or a check, or it's right on the top. It's right under the
Yeah.
glittering knights.
Never roll hunger roll,
For
willpower,
humanity, or checks.
or a check. Is this a check?
No, a check is like a rouse check.
Rouse,
Yeah.
right?
There is another kind of check, I think, but rouse is 90%.
So okay. So what did you say it was? Firearms 1, 2.
And intelligence.
I got to make sure I get the right color dice. This is a thing. It's a thing.
Just the idea that you're going to frenzy making somebody toast. You know? It's every single roll.
But you're a beast.
Oh!
3 successes.
You're a base.
4, isn't it?
3.
1, 2, 3. These are blanks.
Oh, okay. I couldn't see the
It's
one blank.
reflection.
The closest one I couldn't see.
3
Okay,
successes.
3 successes. Okay. Yeah, these are hand loaded. You can, and you know that because you know that military rounds have a crimp on the back where the primer goes in, and you can see where it's been shaved off. So someone handmade these rounds.
And where the firing pin hits.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, is it able to tell whether it's like AK-47 or if it's a round?
Oh, you can tell just by the shell casing.
Okay.
7.62 would be a AK-47 or anything of that caliber.
Okay. And so these are assorted calibers here, but they're all hand loaded.
Yes, they're all hand loaded.
And they're all European sizes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
but,
U.S.
like,
uses
we use-
5.56.
Yeah, we do. But it's far less popular.
But it's still in circulation.
Yeah,
for,
you're right. I'm just grasping at straws there.
Well, that's all I can tell you about this. It's clearly somebody with guns designed to kill vampires came in there, guns ablazing, and either lit it on fire to cover their tracks or caused the fire with the bullets. And if she says the coterie is gone, I mean, they were either all there at the same time or there was a coordinated attack amongst the houses.
She tells you there are 4 separate havens. I checked all 4 of them. All 4 of them were burned down.
And this is in a residential area, Bungalow Haven?
Some of them are in
Houses?
Bungalow Haven. Some of them are in areas around it. So basically everything north of the 210 that's Pasadena and Altadena, that was their domain.
And they knew exactly where to hit them, exactly where they lived, exactly where they slept.
Yep.
Maybe we should consider finding a different place to sleep for an amount of time.
It's more than that. It's that people knew where to find them. It almost makes me wonder if there was a mole.
They must be getting the information from somewhere.
True. And there were not many that would know where an entire coterie would sleep.
Multiple coteries.
Multiple coteries.
Maybe we should start looking for informational commonalities between the coteries that were hit, and people that have access and contact to all those individuals.
Yeah.
In common.
If you choose to stay someplace, make sure it's guarded, either with ghoul or really hard to get into, like a crypt or move around. Because, like you say, if they know, if somebody's been watching and making notes, whether they're vampire or not, our habits are going to give us away, right?
Possibly, but based on how widespread this was, I would say they hit the targets they knew.
But they hit them all at once.
Exactly.
So now they're going to be looking for new targets. And we're right on the border.
Well, after tomorrow, there will be a lot of targets looking for them.
Yeah.
Even now.
Even now. But I fear the prince's address will stoke the flames.
And then again, we still don't know what our superiors know. They might have more information as well.
They may.
It bothers me that for someone to have this much information about so many different, were all these coteries, what were their clans?
Yeah. Who are the people we're talking about? Well,
Yeah.
The kindred we're talking about.
What kindred were hit? We would know who the coteries were who were running different parts of the city.
And the Pasadena coterie would bump right up against ours.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's the North Pasadena one.
Yeah, but if
They
ours
don't
goes
bump
if ours goes in, okay.
Yours doesn't
relatively
go
near
all.
still.
You don't include all of Glendale.
No.
I'm assuming
No.
there's also a Glendale coterie that is
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
part of that. Plus, then there'd be a Pasadena, South Pasadena
But
coterie.
still,
and-
it's close enough for us to actually
Yeah.
at least be familiar with.
We would at least know who they were, though. Like,
Yeah, they're neighbors, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's not like we're asking for the Lancaster coterie.
Now, as far I can give you their names if you want their names. I don't know if that will help you.
Well, I want their clans more than their names. I mean, names, yay, you did this work, but
There's probably okay. Well, I didn't put clans. I would say probably a Gangrel, probably a Bruja. Actually, put
Who's whom?
who's who. Yeah. I'll throw in a Ventru.
Why
It's
not?
Pasadena, after all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, a lot of old money.
Actually, you know what? Both of the other two are Ventru.
A lot of old money around the Rose Bowl area, you know.
Carl
La Cañada.
Shuttlestok is a Ventru, and Dana Wilkes is a Ventru because those sound like Ventru names.
Dana Wilkes.
Stephen Schultz is a Bruja. And
But Schulte, yeah, of course.
Yeah, Schulte. Definitely.
no, I'm going to switch
Ex-hockey
that.
player?
I'm going to make Stephen Schultz the Gangrel,
There you go.
Gangrel,
'Cause
2 Ventru,
Schultz.
and a Bruja.
and then the Gangrel the Bruja is Carlos Hernandez. What did it just? Oh, come on. Ooh.
Having problems computering there, Steve?
Yeah, this is
Having
not the
problems with your
keyboard I'm
drawing?
normally used to. There, now I know who they are. So, I mean, I don't know if that tells you anything, but
Well, it does tell me it was not a coordinated hit against a specific clan.
right.
true. Yeah, Felix had a good idea in kind of trying to cross-reference like the clans that were hit and if they had anything in common.
Yeah, trying to put all the people, all the victims together and find if they had any persons or any things that they have in common that might have spilt the beans as to who they were.
Well, let's see. Now, you were asking me, that was the Pasadena. You guys also went to West Hollywood?
Yeah.
Again, there's no, like, they're all vampires. Other than that, there's no real...
Okay.
They're all vampires, and they're all in the Glittering Night,
Yeah.
but you're not finding really a thread.
Okay.
More importantly, what was their station or social status within the overall Camarilla?
Within the Glittering
within
Night?
the Glittering Night.
Okay, well...
Were they prominent members? Were they people that were at odds with the court? Or
Ventru right now are kind of the, like, black sheep of the family,
Vampira non grata?
kind of.
Oh.
Only because the last prince was a Ventru, so Miroslav kind of purged a lot of Ventru out of the area.
And there was all that nonsense over on the Mote.
Right, and there was all that crap going on at the same time. But so like the Bungalow Haven, North Pasadena coterie, probably on the outs for the most part. The closer you get to LA, probably because downtown is where Miroslav is. The closer you get there, probably the better positioned they are socially as a general rule. So like the USC,
Yeah, that's
They're
straight
tight.
up. Yeah.
So
And-
they would have been close to. They would have been close to Miroslav. At
Yes.
USC.
yes,
I mean, that's right at Expo, right?
yeah.
Shit, okay.
Were you concerned that this is a coordinated attack by Miroslav cleaning house?
I'm concerned about everything at all times. It's not an impossibility. If he wants to rally people to a cause and consolidate them, he creates a puppet enemy. He then destroys people that might be working against him at the same time. It's a possibility, and I do not wish to leave any stone unturned.
That's very disquieting.
I mean, everything about this is disquieting.
Yes.
Everything about this is disquieting.
I'm just saying, sometimes the old school vampires that have their machinations tend to be a little bit more extreme sometimes. So I didn't think of it outside of the possibility. I was just asking the questions.
And Miroslav's a full-on Prussian from like Prussian wars, right?
He's Croat.
But like from the 1600s.
He's old. He's very old, and he's an old school Camarilla. I mean, it's like you do things the right way. And this like experiment with democracy that the Glittering Knight had. No.
Not into it.
He cannot abide. That's why he came here. He's like, these people don't know what they're doing. I will bring old world sensibilities to them.
I mean, I respect which way power lies, but like anytime somebody starts talking about old world sensibilities, Lakshmi is like internally vomiting.
Yeah, fair.
I was like, I spend 2 blood points on this eye roll.
If anyone knows old world, it would be you, right?
I mean, if anyone knows old world.
Well, you're the only European, right? No,
I am not a European.
Well, that spent time in Europe, but you're not European. But you did spend a lot of time in English.
Super not.
Super not European.
Did you say Egyptian?
I went to England once for 2 weeks. Does that make me European?
No, you were like there, what, 5 years?
I was there for 3 years, human.
Oh, okay.
And
Not enough.
Yeah,
and
not
then
still the closest
say
thing.
like 90 years.
We're all New World
Kindred.
vampires.
Yeah.
But like, the fuck's not given about Europeans. Like, when Black Panther came out, which we went to a midnight screening
Yes.
and said yes, and immediately started referring to all white people as colonizers.
Here for it.
Oh no, man! My people are the apex of that crap. It's the most horrible thing in the world. Spanish Empire.
Building bastards.
Let me tell you, man. South America is so ridiculously racist. It's not even funny. It's bad.
But in any case, now that we've determined that
Well, we give
Lakshmi's not European.
we decided that the character named Lakshmi is not European. Note to self: stop stepping on own dick. Thank you.
But it doesn't seem like burn it down with fire
Right?
is
I mean,
Miroslav's way,
right.
or he could have done it before.
I think the likelihood of it is low, but I didn't want to remove it from consideration.
Weren't there gunships involved with that business at the Mote? I really wasn't there, but I heard it was pretty big.
I
Yeah.
stayed well out of that.
He does seem to have a flair for the dramatic. We should probably keep all possibilities open, but it is looking like this is the work of humans.
I agree. Most signs point to that direction.
Occam's razor, the most obvious. It's probably right. Let's just if we're going to assume that it's humans that know about vampires, it does bring up the possibility about, because they knew where to hit them, perhaps they have a pet vampire or a way of spotting vampires. They have bent to their will so that they know how and when to, and they certainly know our weaknesses as well. At least fire.
They know. It's been.
I'm only concerned that what we need to look for here.
I mean, when Venice fell, when Prague fell, it became obvious that the mortals knew.
Yeah.
The mortals have known our weaknesses for decades. What we've had on our side is secrecy. And that is what we've lost here.
What can we do? What else can we do to protect? Is there any finger wiggly stuff that you know that can help protect this area?
Finger wiggly stuff.
Our domain covers a vast expanse. By the time I would even be able to attempt to
So
set
that's
up
a
a
no.
ward that covers it, the threat would be long past.
Okay.
No, if we're dealing with non-supernatural things, perhaps the best way to deal with them is non-supernaturally.
And I do have alerts set up in case of
suspicious activity were to come across the camera network, but that doesn't explain who is feeding them the information on havens.
Right.
True.
I don't trust many, but...
No, until we find out who or what we're looking for, it is rather difficult.
Here's my blanket concern, just to lay it out. They knew where and when to hit these, and they hit all of them, the ones in Pasadena, and also when they hit them all. Now, it might just be a matter of manpower that they didn't have enough to do more. I'm concerned that they knew where these are, but I don't know if it stops there. I'm afraid that tomorrow or next week or next month, they have information on other havens as well that they're going to hit once they have time to regroup.
It is possible.
I don't think that they blew their wad. This is the only havens that they know about. I'm concerned that they might actually know where our havens are, and we don't know that.
And we have alerts set up to inform us of any kind of activity around our havens.
Okay.
I'm certain that the Kindred who are now Ash believe themselves to be well protected too. I'm going to see if I can find any evidence of large amounts of ammunition or firearms being traded in the area. See if we can find where all these guns came from, because they're obviously of military make. So I'll have Michael go to the police station where my contact is and slip him a note.
Okay. All right. You can totally do that.
If we can find out who is accumulating all of these firearms, it might be able to shed some light on who's behind this.
This is a lot of people with guns coming and going. There must be some way to spot them. And not necessarily unmarked vans, but I mean, they came in guns a-blazing and disappeared into the night. They must have gone somewhere, somehow, in mass.
True. Now that we know the location of the specific location of, especially in the West Hollywood domain, I can see if any cameras or anything point out who we might be looking for.
There were 5 separate locations in Pasadena hit. Let's say 2 people per location. That's 10 people right there, plus West LA. Say another 10 people there to take care of that one, plus everywhere. So we're talking 30, 40, 50 people.
You cannot have evaded technology
Not all
completely.
Wits technology.
Okay.
Don't forget to
Oh my goodness, man.
So excited about it.
I think I might have fallen in love with this hunger die mechanic.
Pretty tempting. Wait till I get to 5 and I start manifesting stigmata.
Wait.
Okay, my hunger die was a 4.
Okay.
And I got 2 successes outside of that.
Okay.
It seems weird to me to be rolling it on a skill check, though. No, I mean, I get it with
Everything.
discipline.
Everything.
Everything.
You roll it on everything. The only things you don't roll it
I
on
know.
are willpower, humanity rolls, or checks. That's it. So, all right. So you go back and you like do a little magic, and between 4 a.m. What time did I say the fire started? 5:30?
5:30,
Yeah.
yeah.
Between 4 a.m. and 6 a.m., there is 0 camera footage on any camera in West Hollywood.
Of course.
Okay, then that really makes me think hard. Second Inquisition.
And connected
Yeah.
in high places.
That would be the Second Inquisition.
Question. Based on the First Inquisition, is there any sort of like uniform physical description type of like way you would be able to recognize them?
The Second Inquisition, as the vampire book says, is poetry. The term Second Inquisition, the do you know the basics of what the Second Inquisition is? Okay. Somehow, human intelligence agencies found out there's these things called vampires. Mm-hmm. Miraculously, they went out and hit almost exclusively Sabbat strongholds. Gee, I wonder who may have told them about this. Well, once the Sabbat were virtually destroyed, and they are virtually destroyed, then they started realizing, hey, you know what? We think we might have discovered some other ones. And suddenly, Camarilla cities start falling around the world.
Okay.
So, but basically, it's made up of intelligence organizations from many different countries, and they have been doing research. There are rumors that they have kidnapped vampires and done experiments to find out what it is they are capable of and what they're not capable of. No one knows for sure how much it is they know, because they have been really good at keeping their organization cloistered and secure.
Okay. Interesting.
But this is like the nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
And that's another one of the reasons why Miroslav keeps the Ventru kind of under his heel here, is because there are rumors that it was the Ventru who came up with the idea to go out and tell these secret agencies, because they thought, well, this would be a great way to get rid of the Sabbat.
It does seem a little Ventru, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is what led to the Second Inquisition.
Okay.
Inquisition is what led to the destruction of the power structure in the Tremere as well.
Right.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Like, they hit Vienna and
Yeah.
took out the entire.
I am going to. You have technology.
Yes.
How many odds?
3.
Shit. You should probably do an elimination search on images on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter within that time period and within that geographical area. They may have been able to stop all the official cameras from going, but people might have been able to catch something on their own cell phone taking pictures out there.
Yeah, location plus
Time period and location.
plus timestamp plus known suspects. Yeah.
This is.
Cross-reference it via
I'm going to say that this is hard.
Okay, can I help you with this?
Yeah, how does assisting work in this?
I don't know if there's such a
a
thing
good
as assisting.
question.
Do vampires cooperate? I don't know.
Are we coterie?
Yeah. Isn't that what a coterie is?
Does anyone have a book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, look that up for me for a second. But I gotta check, because this is.
Would you want assistance?
It might be called that. I don't know what it'll be called.
Okay.
It'll be called something. If it exists, they may not have made that, because I've read through a lot of that book and I don't remember it.
Well, maybe this is just
Hey, you
two
know
separate
what?
roles then.
I have this wonderful resource here
The internet?
called the chat room. Anyone in there know in the chat room if there is a help mechanic?
Let me look and see if there's something, maybe skill checks.
Dice mechanics is under here.
I don't see anything under assistance.
Checks, no.
No, there's nothing under
There's
assistance.
nothing under help.
Or skill checks.
Yeah. You can't help. Which I guess makes sense.
The question is, outside of technology, what am I rolling?
Wits, probably?
Okay.
It's our intelligence.
And I would say you need 4 successes. This is a challenging
Okay, so that's
difficulty.
1, 2, 3.
Don't forget your hungry dog.
It is the first one I've done.
I'll make you a t-shirt that says, don't forget your hunger die.
I know, right? Well, I got 2 10s that were neither of them my hunger die. My hunger die, though, was a 1.
Okay, that only matters if it's a failure.
Well, I got 4 successes.
Okay.
No, 5 successes.
If I recall correctly,
5 successes, yeah.
Right, because when you
hunger.
get double 10s...
A failed
as
roll
yeah.
with a 1 on the hunger dice showing is a bestial failure. So this is a success. You got the 4 you needed.
I got 5.
5. Okay. All right.
Sorry, 6 is a success that
Yes.
I keep not That
Right.
doesn't translate in my brain for some reason.
Okay.
All these White Wolf games very difficult. Some are 8, some are 6, some are 7.
Yeah, well, they're using a float. There's a floating difficulty, which is the number of successes you need.
Right.
Okay, so you're able to get. There's like one cell phone video that you can get off of some guy's account that shows. You don't see where they come from, but you see 4 guys all dressed in black with rifles, and they're walking along in that sort of very
Military sort of.
yes,
That
very
rifle-
highly trained way,
you?
checking corners and doors and such, and then all hell breaks loose, and you start hearing gunfire, and suddenly the camera turns, and there's a house, and this is the.
This is passive damage
Right.
then.
No, this is. I thought you were looking in West Hollywood.
I thought I was looking in.
I don't think it
both,
was specified, but
But
I was assuming West Hollywood.
okay, it could be West Hollywood. I was just.
It can be-
I was just clarifying.
Okay, same scene, same guys, but a lovely little bungalow neighborhood, and about a 900 square foot bungalow over here. Beautiful little craftsman with all the things and the pillars
With
and all that stuff.
100 steps leading up to it.
Right, and they basically breach the front door, and then the thing just erupts in gunfire, and you can tell like the last guy going in, every round he's firing looks like it's made out of phosphorus or something.
oh shit.
Okay.
And they're in. They shoot for about maybe 15 seconds, and then they leave, and then there's 2 more big, huge explosions immediately after that. And as they're leaving, I mean, literally, it's blowing the roof off of the house, and you
Wow.
can see like phosphorus stuff go. That's like streaming along, and now you can kind of understand why the fire spread so fast.
But these are humans.
It's guys dressed in black, but
Firing incendiary rounds?
Yeah.
well, there's that. Yes, that I would absolutely make every one of you make a terror check if you were firing a weapon with incendiary rounds,
In a house.
Yeah.
Where
or
it can
at
trash.
all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Besides, the rats told us they were humans.
Yeah.
Lakshmi, will you send me that video?
Yes, let me I'll
Here's my
clean it up a
new
little
burner
bit.
phone number.
I'll clean it up a bit and drop it right on over to you.
Thank you.
The nice thing about being in modern day is like burner phones are still smartphones.
Yes,
They're just
They're
smartphones
smart
with
enough.
all the like location tracking turned off.
I bought Zachary a burner for his first phone because when we went to the game convention, I wanted him. I wanted to have a way to get a hold of him. Very functional phone. It was like $40.
Yeah. It's astonishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just enough. I know people at work because they destroy their phones, so they just have cheap phones that they buy.
Yep.
Amazing. Anyway, like as soon as you download it immediately, right? You go back and look, and it's now been deleted.
Of course. I mean, the fact that they let themselves be videotaped quite as much as that video
Yeah.
gave me is kind of.
It's like the neighbor's kid or something.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
It's someone
like,
with not a lot of followers. I mean, he's got like 5 followers.
Even so.
It's probably someone who's never gone on Facebook until this moment,
Ooh, Facebook.
and then
It's on
they said,
TikTok.
"I now have the video that's going to make me famous. I'm going
Yep.
to post my first post on Facebook."
I'm gonna get TikTok famous off this.
It probably should be a TikTok.
Yeah.
Yep.
Set it to music.
If it was a kid, yes, it should be. It should be.
No, it's first thing. It's
Right
like an
about
8-year-old girl dancing, and then the camera just wavers.
Yeah. Because it started as an instructional video.
Yeah.
And then it was like, holy shit,
Hey,
what
what's
is
going
that
on
over
out
your
there?
shoulder?
Yeah.
How to use your Instapot video.
And it's like,
God.
and it's set to like,
Something stupid.
it's something terrible like Rage Against the Machine, Knock Full of Shells.
No. Oh my god.
If it's kids, it's not Rage Against the Machine.
No.
They don't know who that is.
Unless
mean-
it's so old that it's cool again.
It is.
I don't think
They're
that's old
still
enough to be cool
doing
again. I don't know if that's old enough yet to be cool.
Okay, you're right. It's corn, which definitely has come back around.
No, thank you.
They put on a really fucking good show.
I bet, yeah. Not into it.
Yeah, not into the new metal in general, but that's just
Corn is not new metal.
well, any
no
metal
way,
recorded
shape, or
before
form.
any metal recorded before 1991 is new metal to me.
You're so old.
I am ridiculously old. I do not hide it.
You're not as old as I am, are you?
I'm like 47, man.
I'm 53.
Hey, I'm close to my 50s. We're both rambling on in there.
Oh, no, I won't even talk because it's
Yeah,
older
okay,
than me.
over here. Beat you with my walker.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use my new burner phone to send that video to my loyal herd of Satanists that worship me as a god
Okay. All right.
and tell them to keep watch for people like this between 4 and 6
Oh, excellent. Okay.
in a few block radius around the church,
Okay.
just in case.
Done.
I'm going to go down to the homeless encampments I know of and do the exact same thing with the homeless people. Keep an eye out for people in black. And did you see or hear anything that happened recently? Because I know homeless people are often overlooked or looked
Right.
over.
They haven't seen anything like that, but
Keep an eye and ear out
Yes.
for it.
I'm going to rent out for 48 hours one of the basement editing bins at the American Film and Television Archive. It's underground, and I
Okay.
can stay there.
okay. All right.
I think I'm gonna. I'm gonna stay here.
At the church?
At the church?
The church.
Okay.
And
Oh.
continue to monitor the live feeds coming in.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's got
Because you
extra
have like
rooms and whatnot.
yeah.
It's probably got like...
and it's not like the computer room is like exposed to the elements.
No, not at all.
We're gonna end the day here or the night here in a second. Just before you get ready to go down for nappies, you get a text from your ghoul.
My ghoul has a phone, yeah.
We're gonna need names for all these ghouls.
Oh, yeah, my ghoul's name is...
Don't give it to me right now.
Okay. But he has a name.
By the next session. But
It's on the character sheet.
his contact with the police department tells you that they're during the day after, like this previous day, in some outlying areas, there were a large number of purchases made using FFL licenses, federal firearms licenses, which doesn't require a background check and like circumvents a huge amount of like waiting periods and all that kind of stuff. And it happened in several different cities, in gun stores and things in several different cities. But it was significant enough that it sort of pinged the radar in a lot of law enforcement agencies.
Okay.
Even though these are federal licenses, it's still like,
It's
well,
still-
a lot of guns just changed hands over the last 7 hours.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good.
Do you have firearms?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay.
God, the only person who's not going to remember anything is Stork, because he's the only person who's not writing.
No, this is part of me of trying to grow and develop as a role player by following the examples of other people I play with that do great things.
Okay.
So
It's such a good book. I want
I've
it.
had this for years.
That is a good book.
It is
I love
very
that book.
cool.
I started taking notes once, and Sam's notes blew me away that I stopped. It's like she starts with her summary, and I'm like, wow, this is so much more efficient than what I was doing, and this way I can pay more attention to the game.
All right.
Seriously. It was like, I started like 2 episodes like when we first did Mote, and she just comes up with these novels. I'm like, well, I'm not going to.
Dear Diary.
Dear Diary. I've been
Just because somebody's better at something than you does not make.
Well,
not
it was
give you a good reason to
redundant.
not do it.
I was only catching like half the stuff she was. She writes faster, and it's much more eloquent.
I mean, and there are times when, like, because I did, like, a very shorthand for Exodus, but I'm literally rating Camilla's journal for Cthulhu, so it is like...
It depends on the game, for sure.
Yeah.
But I have a terrible memory, and I'm very extra, so I just write everything down.
And, like, on this one, we'll see, like, I'm probably going to fall somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a really hard time. Like, a lot of people re-listen to the episodes before we do the next session, and I am physically incapable of listening to my own voice for that long.
Me too.
I hate it so much.
That thing goes away after time.
I mean,
The more you do it-
I edited my own podcast for a year. It
Oh,
just
that's what you
never
did.
really
Really?
went away. I hated the sound of my own voice.
If it's telling, I did terrible notes in school, too. I was awful at it.
You know, I'm going to have to fix this camera because it literally looks like you are a giant and you are like 4 feet tall.
Yeah, well, she's sitting much further back than I.
Yeah.
This will help.
What
I'll
about
just do
this?
this.
Now,
There you go.
Go back to where you were
It's just forced perspective.
and then lean back.
Yeah,
Right?
that is true. She looks quite She looks so diminutive. How's the weather in Lilliput?
Okay.
you
So-
tell me you see it first.
So it's approaching dawn. You're going back to the church. You're staying at the church. You've got an underground bunker at, especially when they do have the old cellulose film, they usually have like the bunkers that they keep in because the shit burns like motherfucker. And where are you going to sleep?
I don't know yet.
You got to let me know. I got to know. It's sunlight's coming up,
I
man.
think I'll go find a manhole in Griffith Park area. You know, they have those like just those access roads. There's manholes in there randomly. I'll just pull one of those out and crawl in there and
Okay.
a couple of feet in and nap out there.
Okay.
And my creepy abandoned haven has a secret entrance exit.
Mm-hmm.
So that is through the crypt slash ossuary in the basement.
Excellent.
And
Okay.
that's where I actually stay, but nobody knows it's there.
Okay.
I get my gula room at the Ritz over, well, what used to be the Ritz over in Pasadena.
Is it still the Ritz?
Is it still the Ritz? I thought they changed names.
Oh, someone else may have bought it.
Yeah.
But it's got a like 2-star Michelin rated restaurant inside
Yep.
of it. Yeah.
Well, he's supposed
I've
to be
been there once.
He's supposed to be who I am. He is
Right.
literally the celebrity. So he
Okay.
stays at nice places. So
Pretty good gig.
yeah.
He doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
He just hangs out by the pool all day.
All he has to do is whatever I asked him to.
And then
Whenever
he
I
goes to
want.
all his Hollywood parties and,
All
blow
he has
on
to do
hookers
is
and-
follow your word as if it were the word of God.
Exactly. All he has to do is be my personal slave, and
leave
he's,
him-
otherwise
you
he's fine.
You leave him notes and messages on his email, and then he just pretends to, it's a
Okay.
gig. I want that gig.
So, let me bring my notes up real quick. So I'm going to say that it is now Monday. Come on,
January 6th.
why is the keyboard not working now? Really? This is the way it's going to be. The keyboard just stopped working. Oh,
Oh, you're using the wrong keyboard, though. Steve. Maybe you should take more notes.
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's all fine here.
Oh my God, those
How are
6
you?
years difference. Oh my God, I'm not looking forward to it.
Everything's fine here.
Oh, how are you?
Monday, January.
It's January 6th, because we started on January 5th.
Right.
Tomorrow is the 6th. Keep good notes. Keep good notes of time, they said.
Or know what today is.
7:30 p.m. is when you guys are supposed to be at Elysium at Bellico Vichice.
Yes.
So you all have time to do like one little thing before.
Like feed if we fail our rouse checks.
Right. Oh, everyone has to wake up.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Pooja. What's the rouse check
are we
again?
waking
One
up
die.
now,
One
or
die.
are we waking
One
up
die.
later?
6 or better, as you will.
It's
Oh, that's right.
This is the next night.
4.
Oh.
4.
Yep.
So
Oh.
you have
My
2
hunger.
hunger.
I have 2 hunger as well. I have a 2.
8.
Okay.
Oh, failed.
2 hunger. So 2 hunger, 2 hunger, 2 hunger, 1 hunger.
1 hunger.
So do I just add 2 hunger, or did I?
You add.
You add 1.
You have 2 now.
Okay.
2 total. And you're all going to be in a room with vampires.
So if I have time before,
Yeah.
I'm going to go buy my herd and top off.
Okay. All right.
Same.
I'm going to see if I can find somebody looting and eat them.
So
Excellent.
Ooh, eat a looter. Yeah.
how much do you get rid of hunger from your herd?
What's your blood potency?
2.
Let me find the eating rules.
Yeah,
Blood
let me
potency.
look up herd. Will you do that?
Herd doesn't matter. It's
Well,
how
Because it does.
How
'cause
many
it
dots
actually-
do you
well,
have in herd?
That's the thing.
How many
I've got,
dots do you have?
I think I'm looking it up now. I think I've got the wrong page. 2.
Well, herd's on 190.
Thank you. Because I think it actually says it under herd.
I heard that. Here's the truth.
190?
That's what it said in the index. It's 189.
Here it is.
It's a fucking liar.
It's 190. 2 dots in it. 4 to 7 vassals, half of whom share 1 residence that you can pick when you buy this advantage. Which I didn't do. Example: aging devotees of city's fading goth, or seeing fellow club defenders, large cleaver family. So I was homeless population, but it doesn't say.
Well, it gives you resonance bonuses, and
Yeah,
that's
but
that's
we're not playing
important.
with
You lose
residents
1
here.
die of dice pool for any social test.
So do you have a herd?
I do.
And how many
You've cultivated.
individuals does 2 dots represent? That's what I need to know.
Yes, you do. 4 to 7.
Okay, you're fine. I mean, you can literally take. You're just down 1, right?
You can slack your herd's rate.
Slake.
Okay, slake.
Slacking is something we do with our cell
Yes,
phones.
yes, it is.
So you only need you unless you want to kill one of them,
Yes.
you can only get to 1 hunger anyway.
Right. So
So a sip off of one of them
is enough to take
is
you down.
enough to give you that.
And that's fine, so I could basically do one a day each week.
and they'll be fine.
Okay.
And that's a sip.
So that takes me back down to 1.
Okay.
And I'll do the same with one of my herd.
Okay. All right. Give me like
It's on the way for me anyway, because I have to go from Griffith Park to downtown. So going through the homeless encampments right there off of what is it?
now remember,
Alvarado.
if you're not in your domain and you're feeding, you are poaching.
Okay, it would be in my area.
Okay.
But it's on the way to downtown.
Because that's something we never really touched on in the Mote of Sin game.
No, because we didn't have to. It was all our area.
Right. Give me like a. Oh, what do you use for? There's like a generic thing you use for feeding. Let me find it.
Whatever it is, I probably have shit dots in it.
I don't remember what it is. Shoot.
I'll look it up. You guys keep going.
Yeah, there's like a generic hunting. I'm guessing it's brawl plus something. Dexterity or strength, whichever. We'll do that for now, and then we'll figure it out later. Don't forget 200 dice.
200
That's right, it's
dice?
2.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got
it's
2. That's right.
Hunting.
You've got 2.
There we
Hunting
go.
it's on
And you're
306.
replacing. You're
Yeah.
replacing. Oh, he's looking it up right now.
All right. Just make sure I make the appropriate roll. there.
Right. 306. Hunting. Vampires are new natures. Hunting is predatory pools. The simplest, fastest way to handle hunting resolves is with a single roll of the pool given for the character's predator type.
Oh, my predator type is Sandman.
Okay, so your is dexterity plus stealth.
Perfect. That's 6 D's.
So that's on 306, and it's the second paragraph. There are generally 2 modes of portraying hunting.
4 regular dice
and
2
2
hunger
dice.
306 was it?
306.
So my 2 hunger dice are
Oh,
4s,
are you looking up yours? What are you,
and
what's
I
your
got
predator?
a 9 and a 7 on the other dice.
Okay,
So 2
all right.
successes.
So
Yours is
Manipulation and
subterfuge
So
or
you're down to one
intimidation
hunger.
and fame.
Yeah, just find some dude that's sort of
6.
picking your stuff and stealing some things from a building that wasn't completely burned down. And
Right.
He's just coming up the alley, he's looking through his stuff, and I
Mine's
just come up hulking behind him.
Persuasion.
Yep. Pop him open like a tasty 40.
Delicious.
It's fantastic. I mean, there is nothing like being adored and fed at the same time.
Right?
So fed. Any one quick thing you want to do before you go off to?
I'm okay.
I'm assuming you guys are going, and maybe you're not going.
Oh yeah,
We're going.
she's
Okay.
gonna go. Like, she's already seen the future in which she goes, so that is inevitable.
Okay.
But is it?
She thinks it is. I do want to check in with my congregation to see if they saw anything.
Nothing. They didn't see
Nothing.
anything. They patrolled all day.
Okay.
Some of them are even sunburned.
Oh no,
crap.
buddies! I mean, I told you to wear sunscreen.
We did, but forgot to reapply.
Get a parasol.
Those are totally metal, man.
A metal parasol
Oh, that's
made out of
interesting.
leather with
Yes.
studs.
Yes.
So
exactly.
I should
Get a
have
sword
rolled-
parasol.
Wow, that's great.
See?
According to this, hunting-wise,
Are you
should've-
hunting or using your herd?
I was using my herd.
I don't think you need to hunt when you're
You
using
don't.
your herd.
Okay.
You don't
That's
need
the whole
to.
point. You buy those dots and you don't have to worry
They
about
just give it to you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's like buying a
My
Denny's.
bad.
You never have to worry about getting...
But are you Osiris
Big
as well?
No, I'm Scene Queen.
Oh.
But I have a herd.
If you ever without it, though, that's why I wrote mine down as well.
Yeah. And then... Okay, cool. I thought Sandman fed from sleeping victims.
Yeah, but it's not an exclusivity thing. It's just a preference of the type of hunter I am.
Oh, okay, cool.
I like to catch people unawares because I'm monstrous predator, and they sort of see me coming. So it's very difficult for me to walk into a bar and pick somebody up and eat them. I can't do that.
I see. That's awesome. Sorry. As we all learn together.
All right. So you guys head off to downtown LA?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. So you drive there? I
Sure.
guess? Park someplace and pay the exorbitant parking fee.
indeed.
And then
Someone does anyway.
walking along between a couple of different big high rises, there's an area where you have to go into a sewer, or storm drain, not a sewer, into a storm drain, and then there is like a big steel door that opens up that leads down into the old subway system. And basically, and it's like they're really nice. They really spent a lot of time making the inside of subways look good back then.
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these beautiful mosaics or like marble tiles and stuff like that. It's just gorgeous stuff.
Looks similar to Union Station.
Yeah.
The same type of architecture.
It was a contemporary at the same time.
Again.
Built.
Veliko Vijice is an abandoned chamber of the old LA subway system. The rumor is that it used to be where they used to repair the train cars, which is why it's so large, because it's a huge chamber. It's probably 20 or 30 meters by about the same. About big, huge square place. They've clearly gotten all the tracks cleared out, and they've polished the marble, and it's a beautiful place. The lighting in the vault gives the place kind of an eerie red glow. There are banners, each featuring the sigils of the clans, hanging on the walls, and there are about 200 kindred here, including yourselves. And you can hear people are talking. What's going on? And then people are like exchanging information and stuff like that. And you hear a lot of people talking about the fact that no one's been able to get a hold of any of the Primogens or the prince. On one end of the place, there's a raised dais, and there is the prince's throne, which is empty, and there are chairs to the left and to the right where the seneschal and the Primogens sit during formal occasions.
Now, when I had my vision, Miroslav was here. Did I also see the Primogen Council?
Yes.
Okay. And they were, in my vision, were they on the...
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I think I'll try and get kind of to, like, where my perspective was on this
Okay.
crowd in the vision.
Okay.
Just
that's
assuming
cool.
that, like, I had a vision of the future and, like, okay, well, this is where it looked like I was, so that's where I'm going to go.
Okay.
That's really cool. Wow. Maybe there's somebody there. Maybe you saw through somebody's eyes.
Is there somebody in my
That's
spot?
so cool. My mind is spinning.
No, there is not.
Okay.
No, there is not.
Good, yes, that is my spot. I will stand in it.
Okay. And then you, after like 10 or 15 minutes, after people keep filing in, there's sort of a side door where the dais is, or the sort of raised stage is. It opens up, and you see Paul Morphy come out. Paul Morphy, famous 19th century chess champion, who he came up with the first chess puzzle, but he's a vampire now.
He's no Bobby Fischer.
Oh, he would love to eat Bobby Fischer.
Who wouldn't, though, really? Turns out Bobby Fischer is an awful person. Anyway,
horrible person.
carry on.
And he's Seneschal, who's basically the right hand of the prince. And he steps out, and he moved
What was
here.
his name again? I'm sorry.
Paul Morphy, Morphy. And you can look him up. He actually had a very nice chess puzzle he did for the very first. Took me like 15, 20 minutes to figure it out. Actually, took me longer than I had to look it up.
It took me 15, 20 minutes to get
Give
in.
up. Look it up.
So he comes out, and he has a staff in his right hand, and he comes up to the center, steps down onto the floor, and he bangs it 3 times, and you see the Primogen Council come out, and they all walk out very ceremoniously, and they stand in their various places, and then Miroslav just appears in front of his throne.
What clan is Miroslav again?
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. And let me get my teleprompter up. You think I'm kidding?
I don't. That's why I laughed. It's great.
So everyone applauds. As soon as they see Miroslav and the Primogen Council come out and Miroslav come out, there's like a wave of relief over everyone here. They're like, oh my God, they were the ones that were killed.
Oh, good, they're not dead.
But we already knew that.
Of course, you were
Sam.
right?
I already knew that. Yeah.
So he sits down, and then he motions to his Primogen Council to stay seated, and then he stands. Otherwise, they would stand up with him. And he says, "My kindred brethren, my subjects, as you well know, a terrible attack was brought upon us this last night. 4 domains of the glittering night were attacked. Within these domains, 9 kindred havens were firebombed. 15 of our kindred have met final death. But 1 kindred, Vance Cantrell of Clan Nosferatu, survived, and he is the sole witness to these attacks. Kindred Cantrell risked final death to travel through the daylight to our underground domain. He reported to us the details of this attack. It is our grave duty to inform you that the Second Inquisition has come to the glittering night." And people are like losing their shit. People obviously who weren't doing their homework like you guys were the night before.
This is
And then
my
he-
surprised face.
And he raises his hand and says, "But fear not, our kindred. This is the time for which we have all longed. We kindred are the greatest predators ever to walk the earth. And finally, we have a worthy adversary. We shall war with the Kine of this new Inquisition, as we did with the first so long ago. And like those battles long forgotten, we shall be victorious." And yay! The task, it is simple. We must find the Kine, we must follow them, we must find those with which they associate, and we must find their havens. And once we know where they are hiding, we shall do what our kind has always done since the days of Cain. We shall eat them. We shall drain their weak bodies dry.
All of you, our dear subjects, know this task too well. Your sires, and your sires' sires, and their sires before them, have prepared you for this day. This new foe, barely worthy of the word, shall succumb to our fangs as all other kind do, crying and whimpering with the pleasure of feeding their superiors. No, it's not going fast enough now. I actually got a teleprompter. I must say I pity these kind of the Second Inquisition. They cut their teeth on the perverted and degenerate Sabbats. But how worthy a foe are they? While the Kine celebrated their victories, we maintained an order that has preserved our kind for millennia. While the Kine celebrated and drank from their flagons of hubris, we honed our skills and talents with our delicate and dangerous dance. These Kine truly do not know what they have done, for what they have accomplished is nothing but to fill us with a terrible resolve. Their hubris shall turn to horror. While they rely on their dynamic technologies, we shall rely on 5,000 years of tradition and training. Show no mercy, our kindred. Let we alone pity them. Show them, as generations of Kine have painfully learned, that they are the prey and we are the predator. And now, we give you a gift. We have enslaved the security Kine of the Staples Center. There await nearly 1,000 Kine, scared, huddling in their terrified masses. Come with us, if you like, and slake your hunger, for tomorrow we go to war. And then the big cheers, he marches down the center of the thing. The big doors open, the Senate, the Primogen Council is following him. Up to you guys to decide how you're going to react to this speech. Well, maybe we should leave this for next week.
Do you want to end it there?
It feels like a weird place to end it.
Okay, all right. A little longer.
Like, I'm just saying. He offered up the
Snackerface.
Yes.
Snackerface.
the Coliseum of the Staples Center.
And the entire security staff.
I mean,
That's quite a statement.
yeah. As to assuage the hunger. I ate.
Yeah, I'm fine. I had, yeah.
I'm good.
I'm just saying, there's so many cameras over there. So many cameras.
It does seem rather conspicuous.
Yeah.
Which is a moving speech that was.
Yeah, he wants to make a scene, and I get that.
But the whole point of our kind is not to make a scene. That's just
But that's what this was. This was his declaration of war. We are no longer hiding in the shadows. We're now
is he
attacking.
saying we are breaking the masquerade? Because
Is it breaking the masquerade if all of the security is ghouled and everyone else is going to get eaten? No witnesses.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They have
but it still seems
families. They have. There's no way to hide all of this.
Yeah, once again, I ate. I'm good.
My time could be better served in finding ways to resolve the issue. And I've eaten. I'm
The
fine.
concern is whether the prince will consider it a slight.
If we are going on the
understand.
mission, this first stated mission, which is to find the kind responsible, those that they bed with, then I feel like we are just observing the primary mission.
Maybe what we should do now, since we are in their company, we should share what information we have with our Primogen, so they have it. And then proving our worth in that way would probably allow us enough leeway to do whatever we wish after that.
Understood.
That seems wise.
I think I don't know if our absence will be noticed, but it might. if we don't do something.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if we go in there, we give them some juice, because we've actually done some footwork already, saying, we got these leads, we'd rather pursue these, no insult to you and your generous gift, but we are in service to the Camarilla.
Sounds like you know exactly what to say.
I will say that.
Well, of this whole line of people, Paul Morphy's the last one. That's his right-hand man.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you all have your primogens.
But we'll go in as a group and
Okay.
To him. And
Well, I was gonna see if I could like.
no, do what you
Because
got
I
to do.
never heard back from my Brevison.
No.
Neither have I.
No one, that was intentional. They were
Exactly.
they were bottled up. Yeah.
So like, if just like a moment of her time.
Okay. Yeah, that you can probably do. You
Yeah.
can probably do that.
But yeah, I'll go to the Seneschal.
Okay.
And give him like the footage that we found, the information that we found at Ground Zero, the conversation I had with the animals, all of the little bits that
Okay.
we've gotten, and basically go, thank you so much for this, but we're going to go and check out some more of these leads, if that's okay. If the prince requires us to participate in this, we're more than willing.
Okay.
But
Let me do hers first, because hers is going to be quick, because that's just her walking by and you basically walking next to her for a while to have
Yeah,
a very brief conversation.
Yeah.
So she's like right behind Miroslav
Yes.
as she walks out.
I just say, my lady, I am glad to see that you were as such unaffected.
The attacks, they were close by, but they were not so close as to be of danger.
And it was the same for my coterie. I have some information that I feel like I need to follow up on.
Mm-hmm.
That I think might be of great use to you and to our friends, obviously. And I do not want to sleep on it.
This is understood. This is pageantry.
Enjoy your feast. Enjoy your circuses.
Your mic is super quiet. Is it pointed
Again?
like the wrong way?
Well, I got up and then I sat back down, and now.
That's better. That's a little better. Okay. So you, Paul Morphy, he's like the guy that has to do all the work whenever Miroslav, like, sneezes.
right.
So he's not, obviously, you can tell he has no intention of going. He has way too much to do.
Right.
He has work to do.
So he's up there in his old style southern suit from the 19th century with his little cane.
Ugh. Seersucker doesn't look good on the undead.
I don't think it looked good on the living either.
I basically just pass him a folder with
Okay.
all the information. I go, we did some investigating yesterday. Here are the results. We thought you and the prince would be interested in seeing. We actually have some footage of one of the attacks.
Oh. I wish some of your peers were a little more industrious.
Well, all of
As
your
are
neighbors,
you.
when all of your neighbors blow up, it is a motivator.
Indeed it is. Very well. I thank you for it, and please let me know if you find anything else.
Speaking of, we are most likely going to retire from the festivities to continue our line of investigation. We just wanted to make sure that wasn't an insult to the prince.
Oh, I don't intend to go myself, so I don't think that will be too much to worry about. Although if we are insulted, I will tell him that I ordered you not to go.
Much obliged. Thank you.
There's so much House of Cards in there.
I think
Or
Anna,
Game of Thrones, either one.
Anna
Pick one.
Sophia would probably check in
That
with
would be
Silas the
like
Great,
Okay.
her primogen as well.
Ooh, you just want to see her Stu's crazy voice.
Yeah, I do.
What has you got on tap for us there?
Just want to trade crazy for
Killing
a
it
minute.
with the accents, by the way, Stu.
Yeah.
I know.
And he says he's not an actor. I don't know. All these years of GMing, he's turned into quite an actor.
I toyed with the idea of using my Skeletor voice for this guy.
Okay, Silas is about like 6'4", 6'5",
big, burly, barrel-chested guy with a huge beard and long gray hair. Big beard.
It's like Hagrid.
Grizzly Adams.
Oh, Grizzly.
I love him already. He really is
They're all
great.
too young. They don't know who that is.
Literally wearing, like, his coat is made from, like...
Raccoons.
Well, probably squirrel skin.
Okay.
Wow.
And he's carrying he has a black powder rifle he uses as a walking stick.
A loaded black powder rifle.
It might be. No one's quite sure. It says, Anna Sophia, it is good to see you again.
Greetings, Silas. The portents have been most strong this last day or so.
Indeed they have. Last night, I eviscerated a raccoon, and it showed me this meeting hall.
I did not have to eviscerate a raccoon, but I was granted a vision of this as well.
Perhaps you should try it.
Perhaps I will.
Raccoon entrails provide far more insight than smaller animals I have found.
That is good to know. I will advise my congregation.
Did you want to talk to me about something specific?
And I'll give him kind of a description of what we found of the people responsible, and just say, just for your edification, if your visions show you anything related.
They have not. But I shall go out and I shall try to find another raccoon and see if such visions come to me. I suggest you do the same.
I will most definitely observe my sacraments. Will you be attending the feast? Oh,
And
excuse me.
He's walking off.
Beautiful. He is much less coherent than me, I see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
She's like,
You
He is
sound
awesome.
positively saying.
I know. She's like, yes, I'm not the weird one for once.
I've never imagined you celebrating that.
Anna Sophia's a little different than me.
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to be normal.
And I never would have thought of a mountain man trapper as an Octavian. That's
I love
genius.
it. Raccoon entrails.
Did you ever see the remake of True Grit?
Yeah.
Remember the guy with
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
bear?
yeah, the bear
Yeah.
skin.
There are some things that
I
are
am also a dentist.
Right.
bodies to have a certain worth here on the frontier.
She gives him a like, hail Satan, goodbye.
Hail.
Okay. So,
just I think Lakshmi gets great pleasure out of being like, that's not how Satanists operate.
She doesn't, like, she has all the ones that, like, defected from the Satanic Temple because they were like, no, we want this to be, like, more religious.
We need more Catholicism in my
This is
Satan.
too secular. We want... Yeah.
Yours is secular or yours is harsher?
No, the
Oh.
actual Satanic Temple is very secular
Yeah.
and is more of a, like, legal organization. But,
And like much more of a like free will.
yeah.
Like it is literally the anti-church
Yeah, exactly.
in all of those ways.
It's a lot of atheists, yeah.
Yeah.
So like the
But
so
see,
like you have the sect of Satanists that's just like
that showed up and were
Catholicism
like,
light.
we thought we were gonna worship Satan, but we're doing legal stuff? Nah, this is boring. And she's like, hey, you wanna do a blood sacrifice?
It's like
Come with me.
yes, I do.
I heard there were small children to terrorize. I feel unfulfilled.
Feel
That's
let
the
down.
pool. That's the pool.
Those are the ones she's like, yes, I got something
like-
for you. Come with me.
But like Lakshmi finds great pleasure in being like, you realize the hypocrisy here,
Nope, she doesn't.
and just pointing it out at every turn.
Okay. Then we do not stick around for the Staples Center massacre.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, that's what it's now going to be called, the Staples Center Massacre. Did you ask him if this is an actual declaration of war? Are we breaking the masquerade?
I didn't ask him that. Why don't you ask your primogen that?
Have you met my primogen?
Yeah, he's over there.
She.
She's over there.
No, he.
I thought it was. Oh, no, she was the
old Greek guy, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, right.
the super old Greek dude.
I've never met him. I've never talked to him. I'm not going to start.
Now is a
probably-
good time.
He probably kind of scares you.
He does. He absolutely does. I mean, I did all my vampire studies and such, but I never got far into the hierarchy because that was all secretive. But
Now is a good time.
No, we're not. Now is not.
You
the time.
have to stand up for yourself at some. Make yourself.
Have
make
you
a
ever
name
met
for yourself.
other members of my clan? They're
Have you
nuts.
met mine?
They're nuts. They're angry.
My primogen gets his visions from raccoon entrails.
That's fine.
Actually, I want to gif him going,
Actually, the mouth came in going.
Mine just shoot people to watch them
actually.
bleed.
And I mean, as long as you don't waste the blood.
Yeah.
You
It's
can go
not
talk to
whatnot.
him. I don't speak Greek.
Yeah.
In fact, you can go talk to him. I don't speak Greek, and we really should get out of here.
I mean, if you would like to break the masquerade.
No, I just want to know what the rules are, because if we start breaking the masquerade and we're not allowed to, then we're in trouble.
Until someone explicitly says the masquerade is off, I'm assuming it's on.
I'm
Okay.
with her on that.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. Just know that we don't do that. Because that's not only to invite the Second Inquisition, but to invite all of the mortal realm, plus the werewolves, plus, I mean, no one wants the ghosts involved. They're
And there's so
just so whiny.
Well, they got plenty to whine about.
Do they, though? Do they?
I don't know.
Purgatory does seem rather unpleasant.
Yeah. I mean, I've never
What
heard
did
good
yours
things.
tell you?
What, my ghost? I don't have any.
We can have those?
I mean,
Oh.
there's the Holy Ghost, but that one doesn't really talk.
Oh. So, I mean, I thought
It's a feminine energy.
Excuse me, I don't mean to out anyone, but the one at your church doesn't talk to you?
Yeah. Isn't your church haunted?
I mean,
Hauntings?
it's a place of great history, but only the saints have talked to me in there.
Oh. Never mind.
What, you think
Just
my
walking away.
church is creepy?
Not at all.
Confused.
I do think that there
But I
are
am going to go to my
entities there who
primogen.
are really whiny.
I am going to go to my primogen,
Okay.
and I'm just basically going to go, since we're Nosferatu, and go, all right, real talk. kind of a thing.
Simon Perkins.
Yeah, Simon. I'm like,
This is like a conversation.
so, real talk. What kind of level of war are we talking here? Talking denied masquerade? Are we talking still shadow war? I just want to know what my operational area is.
This is. Let me check my will. Things are not going to change as far as the masquerade goes. This was to help morale.
No, I understand, and that's totally fine. That's the way these things work. I just want to make sure that you and I are on the same field, and I'm acting in accordance to what you and the prince would like. I've already fed the seneschal some information that we've been doing on some investigation on this, but I just wanted to be clear. And if you had any special instruction for me, I wanted to know. Okay,
Keep yourself alive. And then, I mean,
that's
for,
what we do.
for our clan, the end of the masquerade would mean our deaths.
Which is why it was paramount amongst my concerns. But you have left me much relieved, and rest assured that if there is anything that I uncover, I will immediately send it off to you and the council.
Very well.
Is there anything we should know? Have you discovered anything as to what we're up against,
Oh,
other than just the basics?
I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet.
Right. Keep your head down. I know I am.
Can't get us in the sewers.
So I basically go in and say,
Methane gas is very flammable.
have you not seen Indiana
Wow.
Jones?
Seen what?
Indiana Jones? Remember the Venetian catacombs? Everything went on fire.
Or the blade.
The blade. I go back and I asked my primogen, and no, the masquerade is still in effect. We are simply to discover where they are and kill them covertly.
The irony
in a
being
big, messy way.
they already know we exist, so we're pretending not to exist to people that already know we exist, which is fine.
It's
much like most HR situations. It's not the person you're talking to; it's who's overhearing.
It's the collateral damage.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the Second Inquisition, we do things to them that are outside the scope of mortality. It matters that it doesn't get caught on camera, like their attack in Pasadena did.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be the next TikTok star.
Well, there are another organization that is dependent on secrecy in order to operate properly.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on an even playing field there. They don't want to bring it out into the light. We don't want to bring it out into the light.
They seemed pretty blazing, though, didn't they?
Blazing in the what way? Nobody
came
really,
in with
nobody really
troops
seems
and
to have
people.
seen what they did.
They got seen, it just got erased. They came in with guns, shot up buildings, and then erased.
Whether they did it in post doesn't matter.
You don't hide that. You pay people off.
No, they have that kind of power. They are parts of the intelligence organizations and law-keeping organizations of this country that have that kind of
People still know.
capability.
The kid or person that recorded your video still knows that happened. Whether he gets paid off or not, or threatened or not, he still knows. It's no secret anymore.
I mean,
People have seen vampires do
you say-
things for hundreds of years.
You say paid off or threatened as opposed to just taken in by ice?
True.
Or simply eliminated. The fact that they've caused major fires in metropolitan areas seems to me that they don't really care about collateral damage
No.
or who ends up in the path of their war.
Or secrecy.
To a certain extent.
They obviously care about wider secrecy, or they would not have scrubbed all the video from the internet.
At the very least, they're concerned with plausible deniability.
I think they're concerned about tactics. I think that they don't want us to know who they are. They know full well that we have intelligent people that would be hunting them if they made this major attack like this. This was a coordinated, dramatic attack to put the fear of God into us and to announce their presence with authority and to show us that they can get us where we fear most. And they did it out in the open in front of everybody. They didn't come in and open up somebody's coffin and put a bullet in their head. They blew up the entire house, the entire city block in front of everybody. It's caused a fire in LA.
No.
That's not secret.
It was meant to be a statement to us, because nobody else deciphers what that statement is.
Going through the houses and putting a bullet in everybody's head would have gotten back to us as a message. Blowing up an entire city block is a message not to us but to everybody.
The message is, we don't give a fuck.
I'm concerned as well that they're recruiting. I'm afraid that what might happen is that they're going to drop their secrecy veil, say there are vampires in the world, we're outed, and get humanity against us.
A harder pill to swallow than most would think.
They may be recruiting, but I think they will do so covertly.
No, the people that they want have a specific type of training. They don't want some dude off the street.
It's a skill set.
But that's where we start then. We find people with those skill sets. We Google them. We track them. We could also talk amongst the veterans people. I know there's a large contingent of a homeless population, and perhaps they've been approached or even know their way in. We can Google or even infiltrate.
I have a list of gun shops that were visited by people with federal firearms licenses en masse. We could go to these locations, question the entrepreneurs that run them, maybe look at their camera footage, maybe get some faces on some people that we can identify. Then we can go hunt them down, question them, maybe Google them, maybe turn them against. Who knows? But until we find more information about who this is,
Oh, I'm not talking to anyone and revealing myself just to find camera footage.
I might go to some VA meetings with the post-traumatic stress, the soldiers and such.
That's
They often get approached by mercenaries. If this is a mercenary group, even if it isn't, people with that skill set would know other people with that skill set who have a high-paying job now or have a job somewhere.
If you would like, you can make. I should always put it this way, because you have hunger dice. If you would like, you may make a roll, firearms plus intelligence,
For what?
to find something out.
We're just talking right now. I mean, that might be later when I actually go to the VA. But.
He said, "If you may like."
He gave you some information,
All right.
which could possibly trigger
Firearms plus what?
Intelligence?
intelligence. You don't have to. I'm not
Yeah,
saying you
no.
have to. I'm just saying if you want.
I think what Stork wants to do is to end the session on a Stork roll.
Yes.
Give me all ones.
That's 3 successes.
Ooh. The vampire does like you today.
Well, okay. To be
To be fair,
I have a high intelligence and I have 2 in firearms, so
All right.
it was a safe roll.
I think the secret is here, Stork, is that don't use dice with numbers on them.
Yes.
I'm just saying you did
Fantasy
roll
flight game
all
for you, all the way
6s
through.
that one time.
I did.
From your firearms experience, you know that nothing destroys the barrel and the chamber of a rifle more than firing
Phosphorus rounds. Tracer
incendiary rounds through it. It literally, I mean, one magazine can ruin a rifle.
So we can approach it from 2 fronts. We can approach the gun owners and such who might have some leads on where they're selling these to, if it's just people coming through. And I think also the veterans, the disabled veterans meetings, the PTS meetings, they might have connections or know people who know people. I know some homeless veterans myself that I can talk to, and perhaps we can get some leads for tomorrow.
And check out any means by which you would dispose of firearms.
I can talk to the homeless community and see if they found any in the rivers and such.
Yeah.
They might just rebuild them. If it's just a barrel, they might just replace them.
Yeah. But then again, if they just walked into this place and just bought every gun and ammo,
They had a federal license, yeah.
yeah,
So those are hard to fake.
those are hard to fake and hard to get. So
And easy to track.
So we have a couple of options. All right.
yeah,
This makes me feel better.
We good?
Yeah.
good, yeah.
We have a plan for the next time.
Okay. I love it when you guys come up with a plan right at the end of the session.
Yeah.
This gives me time to prep.
Yeah.
Yay!
All right.
One hand washes the other, Stu.
Oh, well, thank you for joining us for the very first session
Yay.
of the Glittering Night.
Oh, this was fun.
Game.
I can't believe how much I missed Vampire.
All right.
I miss Joey.
Now, what do you
Feel
guys think
gypped.
about the system so
I know
far?
it's going to be so great.
It's, you know what? In some ways, it's a little more streamlined because
Yeah.
there's a little less counting of fiddly things. You're not throwing dice around. And we're not spending a lot of time going, oh God, I'm low. I think I better go bag a sailor, because we used to spend time finding a victim, killing a victim, getting our blood up, getting rid of the body, and then we would go on to the rest of the stuff that night.
Right.
It got really. It's like you can just spend the entire game hunting for blood for that night and then going back to bed, because it could take hours. So I'm glad that that's been streamlined and is gone.
If this was a game where you were all newly embraced, we would not throw away a hunting thing as a simple die roll and then move on.
Right.
But I mean, you guys are Ancillae. You've been around a long time.
Yeah.
I figured we can kind of hand wave that stuff with a simple die roll.
And these dice rolls are a lot quicker too. I mean, especially with the symbols, you can tell at a glance
Right.
where you're at.
What do you guys think of the hunter mechanic? Does it seem? I mean, I'm excited about it because it's like every roll is
It's
a chance for
interesting so
something
far.
horrible.
Yeah.
Any
I
RPG,
really like that.
any RPG that has a mechanic that that gives players an incentive to restrict their die rolling, I like.
Yeah, you have to be more strategic with how you use your abilities, which is kind of nice because it's
Yeah.
like, "Ugh, I might freak out.
I'm
Well, the
very
thing is,
reticent to do stuff.
If you're making a roll, it should be something dramatic and it should be something important to the plot, or else why make the roll? And when you have mechanics like that, it always emphasizes that.
And
point.
and
Yeah.
especially with even 100, there's a sort of Damocles like right there. It's like, do I really have to? That's why I keep saying from now on, if I tell you go ahead and make this roll, it's like
what I'm really saying is, if you would like, you can make this roll if you want to take the chance to get
Yes.
the morsel of information.
You could.
Also, like, I will have to say our dice were all very kind to us tonight, and I don't
What's that
expect
humanity
to
roll I
continue.
have to make at the end?
It's not a humanity roll. How many empty squares do you have?
My
Does
humanity
anyone
is
else have
6.
stains? No one else has stains, right?
No.
Okay.
No,
My
Not today.
humanity is 6, and I took 1 stain.
So you roll 3 dice. If you get at least 1 success, you erase your stains, and you feel terrible about what you did, because you know you probably ended up killing someone.
Right.
If you fail, if you don't get any successes, you don't give a fuck about what you just did, and your humanity drops by 1, and you erase all stains.
Okay. So let's go here.
So-
there's 2 7s.
So
Okay.
as you lose humanity, you get more chances to rescue it?
No. Well, as you lose humanity, you have more space to get more stains. Because what you do is you have, like, the way it's supposed to work is you block out your humanity over here,
Right.
And then when you take stains, you block them out from the opposite end.
All right.
And whatever empty squares you have left in the middle, that's how many dice you roll to see whether or not you feel regret or whether you say, fuck it, they
I see.
deserved it, and then lose a humanity.
So, like, we all have, I think we're all the same in this, is that we all have 6 humanity to start,
Actually, I have a 7, but yeah.
except for you. So
He's trying to save the world.
Yeah.
So the rest of us all have 6 humanity to start. So if any of us gain a stain, we only roll 3 dice. If you get a stain, you roll 2,
Yes.
and you have to get a success on that.
Yes.
But the next time, if you were to gain, like, if we were to lose this roll, and then we would have 5 humanity going forward and gained a stain, then we could roll 4 dice instead of 3.
That's
Exactly.
what I was saying.
Yeah,
So you
no,
then,
it's harder to preserve a high humanity.
yes.
Yeah.
You have less room
Okay,
for stains.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
Because it's harder to preserve your humanity.
It's
because-
more fragile.
But then as you gain space, you can it's a chance of succeeding. So
Although
you
also,
end up
I mean,
hitting
you
baseline.
kind of have to role play your humanity too. I mean, as your humanity gets lower and lower, there's more
Yeah,
and
yeah.
more things you're willing
Right.
to do.
But also at some point there's an equilibrium where it's going to just you,
And it
you
gets-
have rolling so many more dice to balance out the lack of.
I haven't started bringing people's what are they called?
Touchstones.
Touchstones
Touchstones
into play yet.
Nope.
But that's where you really start racking up stains.
Okay.
If they get hurt or injured, or if you cause them to be hurt or injured, let's say you're at 5 hunger and, oh, hi, how's it going? Next thing you know, you have a whole... And when you've taken stains beyond what you're capable of taking stains for, horrible stuff happens. I'd have to look it up, but
not good.
there's a frenzy roll you have to
So
make.
if
and
I
things
fill
like
up
that.
all 3 stains in one session,
And then you get another one.
then we're frenzying. That's a whole thing.
Well, when I think the first thing that happens when you exceed what your stains are, you become what's the term? Impaired, which means you're -2 to all die rolls. Period.
Okay.
Until the stains are gone. But I think there's other things that can happen beyond that. I'd have to look it up.
So ostensibly, then you could never reach a full humanity because there would be no room then for the stain to happen.
That's like perfection.
Yeah, well, okay. Not even humans are
Last guy
fully
who
human.
had that, then he'll do a tree.
And even he went and knocked around the moneylender, so what is he doing?
And did you get any XP?
I haven't read how XP works.
I'm gonna hound you about. I'm gonna be the guy that hounds you about XP
Perfect.
during
That's
the
fine.
game
That's fine.
because
I
find
hound
that
you.
that's-
I hound you about hunger. So
yeah. That's
Those
fair.
hunger dice, and that hunger dice, like, reminder is hilarious.
You know what? Statistically, it's not. It won't come up very often.
But when it does, that's going to be the beautiful.
But there's always the chance that it might, which is
Interesting.
great. All right. That's it. Thank you
you.
very much for joining us. And we did a little bookkeeping at the end. And we have to do the stains thing every time if
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
do stainy things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to remember to make sure.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Bye.
I've done in my days.
program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.